coke and meth and I mean, everything for years. And the last time I overdosed, didn't even realize what I'd done. I just remember holding it in my hand, and the next thing I know, I'm waking up in a hotel room with this dude from that movie Gummo. You know, he's gone. That's the last dude I remember hanging out with. He's gone. There's a girl crying in the corner. The EMTs were like, jump back. They're like, we're about to call it. I was like, what do you mean you're about to fucking call it? Like, no, I'm good. I gotta go. I gotta go. They're like, no, you gotta go back to that. I had to get Narcan. Like,
Welcome to What in the Duck podcast. I'm your host, Oliver Peck. What in the Duck podcast is proud to be sponsored by Dream Machines of Texas, www.dreammachinesoftexas.com. All your used motorcycle wants and needs all in one place at www.dreammachinesoftexas.com. They have multiple locations with large inventory and get new bikes in every week. Knowledgeable staff with great service and financing and extended warranty options available. They also have a complete service garage, so every bike is gone through and brought up to speed before you hit the road. I have bought more than a few bikes from Dream Machines over the years, and I could not be more satisfied. I've also had friends from all over the country buy bikes from Dream Machines because they couldn't find a better deal anywhere. You can buy a bike and have it shipped to you anywhere in the U.S. Why buy a brand new bike with that brand new high price when you can get a like new bike with that dream deal you've been looking for? Go to www.dreammachinesoftexas.com and get a bike and get your ass on the road. Hey, this is What in the Duck, and I'm your host, Oliver Peck. This week we have a very interesting guest. Definitely a wild card of a character. We got Dylan Wilson. His band is King Lazy Eye. A lot of you might have seen him on the internet. He is up and coming TikTok star. Just kidding. But he is his music is getting out there and a lot of people are seeing it, and he is a fucking character. I learned about him from videos on the internet, and I just, me and Audra just gravitated towards this guy. His songs really tell a story, and you really get a sense of his personality just from his music. And he's, something that he does that's kind of hard to do these days, and music is do something slightly unique. And I think he's great, and I'm glad to have him. And we just met him, and he is fucking insane. So get ready for that. As always, opening up podcast, going to answer a few questions from the email. You can always email me any question you want to whatintheduckpodcast@gmail.com. First question up today from Aiden James. He says, "What's up, Peck? You're a legend. My question is, can you kick flip?" Cheers. All right, Aiden. Quick and easy question. The answer in my current state is no. I've been skateboarding for 30 plus since I was 13, 14 years old. And in the 80s, I could do a kickflip. I wasn't the best kick flipper there was, but, I did do some kick flips. I mostly skated, once I started skating ramp, I mostly skated ramp and mostly did lip tricks and stuff. But I still skate a little bit nowadays. I haven't even attempted a kickflip in many, many years. And I don't know how old you are, but I'm 52 and falling down hurts a lot. And so I think I did a shove it like a year ago. If you know what a shove it is. Shove it is very simple. The predecessor of the kickflip. But it was a very quick, short, slow-moving 180 shove it. And I was, it was close. It was almost a disaster. So, yeah, my kick flipping days are over. The shit people are doing now on skateboards blows my mind. I mean, just being in the fucking 80s and watching like Nada's Streets of Fire video, you were like, wow. And then like, if you compare that to what's going on today, you're like, Nada sucked. Like if Nada showed up in 2024 doing the shit he was doing in Streets of Fire, it wouldn't even make the cut. And I mean, it's pretty insane. Skate videos now, it's like people are doing video game shit in real life, and it's mind-blowing. But I'm just happy to still be able to drop in and do a Smith grind at 52. So I appreciate your question. I love skateboarding. Hope you do too. Next question. Here we go. We're gonna get wild. We're gonna get crazy on this question. I'm not gonna say the name of the person, just because sensitive topic here. But I'm just gonna say female, first initial C. She says, how do I tell my boyfriend that his older brother, who is 29 years old and married, tried to make a move on me while I was 16 years old? First of all, making any sort of like accusations against relationship partners and family members is very tricky, because there's three sides to every story. And when you broach some certain topics, you could be committing into a situation that's going to be detrimental to the relationship. So first thing you have to do is you have to decide, can you or can you not live with the situation? And can you or can you not deal with the outcome, whatever that outcome may be? So that phrasing, laying that down, I will say this. The only key to happiness and longevity in a relationship, so you and your boyfriend, the only key that really, really matters is 100% open and honest communication. So if you want to go that route, you have to tell him pretty much everything you feel. You can't have secrets from each other, and you can't hide shit. And anything from your past, if you feel that if you tell them something from your past, it's going to stop them from wanting to be with you, then very quickly, the quick answer is, this person is not the person you're supposed to be with. Because if this person is the person you're supposed to be with, or this person you can be with, then they will accept whatever it is in your past, whatever shortcomings, what is going on. So just be honest, and maybe the best thing to do is just communicate to your boyfriend in a way that you just want him to know, just so he knows how you feel, just so he knows where you're coming from. And together, y'all can decide whether you need to broach this with the other family member, or you can just have it amongst yourself and move on with your life. But you know, these situations are very, very tricky, and you know, you just have to come to peace with yourself and what you can, how you can deal with it. But again, my recommendation for anybody in a committed relationship is 100% open and honest communication. And that's the key, man. That's the key. Like if you know married people, and you know a lot of people, I mean, I do, and I know a lot of people that they don't tell their wives things. They don't tell their husbands things. They keep things secret and separate. And every time you do that, you're putting another brick in the wall between you. And sooner or later, enough bricks, there's going to be a clear divide. And you can either get rid of those bricks between you, or you can add more bricks between you. And if you get that analogy, you know exactly what I'm saying. I wish you the best. And I could say a lot of funny things and be pretty harsh, and I could fucking, get all Maury on this, but I think the best thing to do is just, I don't have a whole lot of frame of reference for the whole story of here. Like it says when you were 16, I don't know how old you are now. I don't know what, how long ago this was. And we also don't know the extent of the move that was put. So proceed with caution and, proceed with care. I got a quick question. This is from Charisma. So Charisma just simply says, how long is it taking you to grow your hair out? Well, I have had long hair a few times in my life. And right now, I haven't had a haircut the length of my hair in, more than 15, 16 years. But my hair reached maximum length in about a 5-year period. And then the older I get now, the shorter my hair is getting. My hair was a lot longer in my 20s and 30s, and it's getting thinner. I still got hair up top, but it's definitely less. But I'm holding in there for being in my 50s. And how thin is it gonna get? How thin? I cut my hair. I had long hair in high school, let it grow up forever. And then after high school, I was like, that's it. And I shaved it all off. And the second I cut my hair off, I instantly regretted it. Didn't get another haircut for 5 years, and my hair was back down to my lower back. And then I was like, oh man, that was a mistake, never doing that. And then years and years went by, and I decided, I'm finally done with this long hair phase of my life. And I cut my hair short again and had a nice high and tight haircut for a few years. And I was like, I'm never growing my hair out again, whatever. And then it just happened. I went along a while without a haircut, and then it got long again. And then it's just been long for the last 20 years or whatever. But I've pretty much always been a long hair guy, and I was like, I didn't really. And now I'm kind of in that mindset that I'm just going to leave my hair forever. And if I go bald on top, I could be like George Carlin and just be bald on top and have this squeaky little ponytail hanging out the back. My girlfriend's not a fan of that idea, by the way. But hey, that's what we're talking about. Another 5-10 years, I'll be 60. What does she expect dating a 60-year-old, right? What do you want from me? She's no spring chicken, but she does look like it. As long as she doesn't go bald, we'll be fine. One of us can be bald, no problem. But I feel pretty strongly that even if I lose my hair up top, I will be able to maintain this. I just think it'd be funny to be that old guy with the little squeaky little rat tail hanging out the back. Whatever. Next question. Trying to read this name here. It's Shaney. Shaney. People have. There's no. I mean, any name works. Just throw letters out and they make a name. Shaynie, Shaynie. Maybe it's a nickname. Shaynie Eva says, what made you open a shop in Utah? Well, for those of you who may or may not know, we have a tattoo shop in Springville, Utah. It's called the Buffalo Nickel Tattoo, about 45 minutes south of Salt Lake City. Man, what a beautiful town, surrounded by mountains. In the summertime, it's amazing. In the winter, it's cold. I don't go there in the winter very much. And I say very much, I mean, I don't go there in the winter. When I was younger and snowboarded, I used to go to Utah and snowboard in the winter, and it was great. But so anyway, I got a shop in Utah. 2020 happened, and it was the fucking, certain parts of the country went completely insane, more insane than others. LA, Los Angeles, Hollywood got fucking even more weird, Hollyweird. And I had a shop in Hollywood, and I was just, as soon as 2020 happened, I was like, that's it. I'm out of Hollywood. It was already getting hard to own a business there. And so I packed up and got the fuck out of Hollywood. True Tattoo, RIP. So I'd recently eliminated the tattoo shop in LA, and I got a very unique opportunity. A guy that I know through motorcycles, Rick Salisbury, owns a motorcycle museum in Springville, Utah. And it is an amazing, completely amazing place. This guy has amassed an amazing amount of historical motorcycles in a really cool building, Legends Motorcycle Museum, Springville, Utah. He owns this huge compound property. He's got restaurants. He's got, all this stuff around. And he built this complex, basically this big multi-story thing out of shipping containers. And he was building a destination. So there's restaurants, there's a bar, he's like, I want to put a barbershop in. I want to have a tattoo shop. I want to have a place where bands can play. I want to have all this stuff. And so he was interested in having some things that draw people to the area. And, knowing me through motorcycles and common friends, he approached me and said, hey, I'm interested in having a tattoo shop in this area. Wonder if you'd be interested in being a part of it or opening it or running or blah, blah, blah. And my instant reaction was like, man, it's hard owning a business in a city you don't live in. And I just gotten out of having a shop in LA, and I wasn't really interested in trying to go down that route again. And I was like, hey man, I appreciate it, but it's like, just seems like it's not really something. He's like, well man, I'd really love your help. And he convinced me to come to the place and check it out and see it and give him some pointers and blah, 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 blah. So whatever, long story short, zing, zang, boom. I go to Utah. I see this place. It's fucking killer. And the opportunity was just right. I mean, the partnership between me and him of how it all worked out, spare you the details, was just really, he owns a construction company, so the build out was a snap, and man, it just worked out really great, and it was really simple, and I can go there. I try to go there, a couple times a year and tattoo, and then we get friends of mine and people we know, tattooers from all over, to come through there. And now for the last, over a year, we've got Buffalo Bo. We've got Bo out there full-time working, and he's killing it. And it's just it's a small shop. It's a cool little small town. Nobody else offering the kind of tattoos that we do. So it's a cool little niche. And if you're ever in the Springville, Utah area, it's a great place to check out, even to get a tattoo or not. It's a great place to go. The food at the Strap Tank Brewery is amazing. The food at the Sidecar Cafe is amazing. The motorcycle museum is top notch. It's a great little town at the base of the mountains. It's a great place to snowboard. Summertime, it's beautiful for fishing, hiking, mountain biking, motorcycle riding. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's really cool. I was just there last month. Went to the Salt Lake City Tattoo Convention. Thanks, Nate Drew. And then went to Buffalo Nickel afterwards. But a lot of great tattooers from all over pass through there. So keep an eye on Buffalo Nickel Tattoo if you're in the Utah area. Next question. From Hannah G. She says, you probably won't know how to pronounce my last name. I already said Hannah G, so yes, you were correct. Probably don't know how to pronounce it, but if you answer this on a podcast, don't worry about it. I'm not worried. My question is, what's your favorite subject matter to tattoo other than what you're known for? Thanks, Hannah G. Well, I'll tell you this. I've told the story a little bit. I'm going to give you a little brief thing, but I tattoo American traditional designs, American traditional style. I can pretty much do any imagery or any kind of concept in my realm of what I consider American traditional, somewhat neo-traditional, somewhat just illustrative style or whatever. But other than that, the last handful of years, I pretty much only do traditional tattoos. So when you ask about what's my favorite subject matter, other than what I specialize in, I mean, subject matter and style, kind of two different things. So as far as subject matter goes, I pretty much do whatever subject matter you're interested in. There are some certain things. It's not so much what I'd rather do. It's stuff that I will not do. So throw that list out there. No trees. I don't tattoo trees. I don't tattoo trees with long roots spelling out your family history. I don't do, a tree tat. Oh, God. People, I don't, there's other things like wolves and owls that I don't particularly do. I get tricked into it every once in a while. But it's just certain things that if I do something a bunch of times and it just doesn't really come out that great, then my mind says, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like, obviously, if I do an eagle and it comes out great, I'm like, yeah, eagle, great. Let's do more eagles. You know what I mean? I did wolves, not so good. Let's do less wolves. So, there's a lot of things like that. But as far as being known for a particular style, I've had this conversation a few times, but it's more about recognizing your own, as an artist, it's more about recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses. And the more you do, the more you're going to see what you're good at. And you just kind of like start following that path and end up doing more of what you're good at and less of what you're not good at. As far as like personal aesthetics, there's certain things that I just, quick story. The other day, I'm going to call out my buddy Tim. I did a bunch of tats on my buddy Tim, and I did some cover-ups on him, which I typically don't do cover-ups, but I did cover-ups, because he had a realistic expectation of what could and could not be done and whatever. He also wanted a wolf, and I ended up doing a wolf cover-up. It came out pretty good, whatever. But he got a bunch of other really cool tats. But then he's like, oh, my son wants a tattoo. You tattoo my son. So the funny thing is the stuff I covered up on Tim is tribal. Then his son comes in, 18 years old, wants his first tattoo. What does the fucker want? He wants tribal. And I'm like, man, I don't do tribal. I did tribal in the 90s, and guess what? Now they're all covered up. You know why? There you go. But anyway, so I was like, you know what? I just, you get caught in these moments of weakness, and your friend, it's their kid, it's sentimental, it's the first tat, they want you to do it, blah, blah, blah. So I did this big-ass tribal on this kid, and I'm like, and I try to talk him out of it, and I try to give him some advice, and I try to whatever, and he was just like, just in one ear, out the other. And in my mind, I'm just like, you literally you want to get tattooed from me because you see all the tattoos I did on your dad. But then you want the exact opposite of what I did on your dad. Add 2 and 2. 2 and 2, bud. Add them up. The little plus sign in the middle, that means 2 and plus equals. Don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I like tattoos. I want a tattoo. My dad got tattooed by Oliver. He got this tattoo. It's cool. I want something completely different. Totally makes sense, right? So I did this big travel on the kid, and you know, whatever. Man, he loves it. But now I'm like, man, I just did this tat on this kid that in 20 years somebody's gonna cover up. We could have just done a big ass eagle now without tribal underneath it. Well, Tim, I hope you and your kid are happy. I hope you love your tattoo. And maybe this time around, tribal will stay forever and it'll be a cool trend till the end of time. Unlike the 70s, unlike the 80s, unlike the 90s, unlike the early 2020s. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, people got tattooed tribal in the 80s. They all covered it up. Guess what they did in the 90s? Got more tribal. Guess what they did? Covered it up. Oh, the next decade comes around. What are we going to do? I know. Let's do more of that tribal. Also, the hardest tats to cover up. You know why? Large black spaces. I just got a big ass email with fucking mile long of this guy with this fucking full armor tribal wants me to cover it. Guess what he wants to cover it with? Trees and roots and ravens. Trees, roots, and ravens blending into more trees, roots, and ravens. So anyway, I'm getting the wrap it up signal. Time to wrap it up. All right, let's get on with it. And sorry, Tim, I love you, bud. Let's get into it with Dylan, affectionately known as Double W. That's right, Dylan Wilson, coming up next. What in the Duck podcast is proud to be sponsored by Anchor Screen Printing. Anchor Screen Printing has been printing t-shirts and merch products since 1999. Anchor is the place for quality, small-run items. At Anchor, every print is hand-done by people who care about art. No mass-produced machine-operated printing done here. You can email Anchor at anchorcustoms@gmail.com to talk about getting something printed for your company, brand, or shop. Anchor Screen Printing also has its own online merch store that sells Elm Street Tattoo, Cheap Thrills, Heart in Hand, Party First Safety Maybe merch, and much more. You can check it all out now at anchorscreenprinting.com. All orders at anchorscreenprinting.com over $35 have quick and free shipping in the continental U.S. So go to anchorscreenprinting.com today and buy some cool shit. Or you can click the link provided in this podcast to shop now. All right, welcome to What in the Duck. We're here today with Dylan Wilson, and we are here in the wonderful Mio Tia's Mexican restaurant. Hashtag best Mexican restaurant in the world. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, man.
Dylan, we are so glad you're here. I wanted to get you in here sooner than later because you are coming to Dallas to play the Elm Street Tattoo Fest music festival, the end of May. And we're super excited to have you. And wanted to get you in here before that so we could get this out to the world before that happens and maybe let people know what's happening. But, you know, just to kick it off, it's already been a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, man, we've had a good time.
I mean, for those of you who don't know, Dylan Wilson here, known as King Lazy Eye on the internet. He's on all the internet platforms, the Tick and the Talk, the Instagram, the Spotify music.
Yeah.
Pretty creative musician.
Thank you, man.
And I would say it's kind of hard these days in music to do something unique.
Yeah. Takes trauma.
Most people that are doing something unique nowadays have to go so far out on a limb that it's borderline like chaotic.
Yeah.
But and you are on the borderline chaotic tip. But you know, I think what you have is very unique and you have a style, you have a niche, you have a sound. and you're a character, you know, and people, you know, you are what you get, what you see.
Yeah.
You know, what I've gotten from you, just meeting you, it is exactly, you are the reckless, feral, character that one would assume. Well, let's start off. First of all, Dylan Wilson. What's your middle name?
Wayne.
Dylan Wayne.
Yeah, which is not unless you want your child to get punched in the face a lot. I wouldn't give him the middle name Wayne.
Wayne. And your last name Wilson, so you're a double W.
Yeah, it's like a race car driver's name.
Double W, dude.
Dylan Wayne Wilson, like.
That's a pretty good, double W is a pretty good nickname, though.
Yeah, I guess. You know, I was either going to be a musician, a bull rider, or die in a fiery auto crash.
Yeah,
you know?
Dylan Wayne. Dylan Wayne could just be your name, and they think you don't even need a last name anymore. DWW.
Because I already got the cops on my back enough. You know, Dylan Wayne just sounds like.
DWW being your initials, it's double W.
Yeah.
There you go.
Double W.
I think we're on to something.
Yeah.
So first of all, you're 29 I do know a little bit about you. I know you're 29 years old.
Mm.
I know that you've got yourself in more than a fair amount of trouble over at least the last decade or more.
Oh, yeah.
And you've worked yourself out of a little bit of trouble and back into more trouble and out of a little bit of trouble and back into more trouble. And now you're on the rise out of a lot of trouble. But that torture that you're putting yourself through is what's bringing you to have this unique ability to capture, you know, this unique sound, I think.
Man, I really just started getting caught, so it was kind of hard, you know. Like I was like, oh man, you know. So, but I started cleaning up, you know, after I told my son happy birthday through a box on the wall 2 years in a row. I was like, man, I can't do this shit anymore. I'm doing the one thing I said I'd never do if I had a child, and that's what my dad did, you know. So I had to really learn how to be not normal, but, you know, stay out of trouble and shit. So
just get it together a little bit, which is good, man. And I think that you need that. Everyone needs something to keep them on track, and some people never get off track. And I think the people that stay straight-laced and never get off track at all don't have the struggle. They don't have the trauma. They don't have the. They don't end up with the passion.
Yeah, you gotta really, like, you gotta be brave enough to get lost, but you gotta be strong enough to get back.
Well, I have this theory about interesting people and creative people and people that fascinate me, and the thing that's in common with all these people is major life trauma. You know, major life trauma brings about a certain point of life change and life, and I've been saying life transformation, you know, and you definitely check those boxes. So just to let people know more about you than they don't already know, let's hear about, where are you from originally?
So my dad was in the Army before he started going to prison and stuff, and I was born in an Army base in Maryland, Aberdeen Proving Grounds, where they also tested LSD. So like shit started to make sense after I found that out. But so my dad's from Alabama, my mom's from Columbia, Tennessee. I was pretty much raised in, you know, Middle Tennessee, just around everywhere. I changed schools all the time and constantly moved around. Was in state's custody for a little bit and shit like that. But Middle Tennessee is.
You have any childhood memories of being on the Upper East Coast of any of that?
Not really, no. I was 3 when they moved back south, so I don't know.
Yeah, my dad was in the military based on Guantanamo Bay, so I lived in Cuba the first couple of years of my life, which I don't remember any of. But I was born in Texas, moved there, came back to Texas, and was raised in Texas. So I don't really have much memory of that. So, but you spent your formative years, your early teen years in Tennessee, and you're still in Tennessee.
Yeah, well, legally I can't live anywhere else. So
you're constricted to stay in place. Well, luckily you were able to get the permission to come here this weekend.
What I find weird about probation is if, like, say someone walked in your house and then they shit on your coffee table, are you like, you know what, now you can never leave, and then they just keep shitting on your coffee table, and then so like that's like the whole thing is like if someone came in my house and shit on my coffee table, you're never coming back to my fucking house.
Yeah,
you know, I would have been like, why can't I just live anywhere else but Tennessee? It would make more sense.
Yeah,
you know.
They want to hold you there.
Yeah, I just want to keep shitting on this coffee table because I'm going to keep shitting on it if you fucking don't let me go.
Well, you made it out. You're doing enough good that they're letting you travel.
Yeah.
You're in the line of, whether you want to call it work or not, you're in the line of work where you need to travel and get out.
Whether I want to call it work,
Yeah.
you draw for a living and I play chords. It's work.
It's work.
All right.
That's why I say whether you want to call it work. Some people don't.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, it is. It
Yeah.
is. You're pouring your soul out for it. And so Tennessee, obviously you've led me a little bit down the road of mishaps with your father and whatnot. So Tennessee, as a young kid, what was the upbringing for Double W over there?
All right. Well, I always tell this story just because it's kind of funny or whatever. But the best family vacation that I ever had growing up, I didn't realize that my parents were just on the run. Like we just kept going to different hotels. I mean, this is awesome. I don't have to go to school.
Man,
I'm just like jumping back and forth on both beds, and then the cops are coming in. It was crazy. I was like, I thought we were on fucking vacation. Like, we weren't.
Pack your bags.
Pack your bags. Hurry. We got to go now. We got to go have fun. So. Yeah, it was a little bit chaotic, tumultuous.
I mean, how old were you when that was going on?
Let's see. That was when I was like 9, probably. And it didn't slow down, much after that. I went to rehab when I was 14.
What drugs did you get into at 14 years old?
I went to rehab for alcohol because they found alcohol in my backpack, but really I was taking it to school because I was selling my grandparents' endless supply of liquor to kids, other kids, so they found it in there and I was like, oh man. But at 14, that's when I started doing meth. I did that for a long time. And Percocets and shit like that, pre-fentanyl days,
Luckily pre-fentanyl days.
Yeah, thank God I never got addicted to naps.
I mean, it's crazy that for a lot of people in a somewhat normal upbringing, it's hard to imagine getting into a hard drug at 14 years old. A lot of people drank a little bit when they were in their teens, and a lot of people smoked a little bit of weed when they're 14, 15, 16. A lot of people might have, tried a couple of other little things. I mean, at 14, the only thing I had tried was, eating like 8 no-dos and skateboarding all night,
Yeah.
Getting the ephedrine back when they had the ephedrine in there.
You guys know any truckers?
Yeah. And then they ruined that. But it's crazy to get into the hard shit right off the bat. And it's a hard thing to kick.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, and this scares me about my own son, but I've always been just like, if I like it, I want it all the time, and like just, all gas, no brakes. Dive. I was the same way with music, skateboarding, I mean, everything. I mean, everything that if it brought me any kind of dopamine whatsoever, I wanted to like take it to the fullest limit.
Well, the problem, I mean, for me, I really think the problem with getting into drugs too young is that you have zero other responsibilities. So once you do the drugs and you're like, oh, I have nothing to worry about. A lot of people, I've known lawyers and doctors and professionals and businessmen that like, or in college, and whether you're whatever age you are, from anywhere from the teens up to 40s, you try drugs, you try cocaine, you whatever, but you still have responsibilities. So you do drugs on the weekend and then you go to work on Monday, but when you're 14, there's no responsibility. There's no guidelines. There's no guardrails.
There's no inhibitions at all.
Yeah, there's no inhibitions and you're not scared of anything, and there's no guardrails. There's nothing to keep you to like, oh, this is a party time.
And that's
I'm going to do drugs and party, but then I have to do some serious shit.
And that's what's scary about these days with kids and stuff. I'm glad I grew up when I did, because now they're trying drugs for the first time and fucking dying.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time. And it's terrifying. Like as a father, like I hear all the time, like, oh, did you hear about so-and-so's kid? So like I have a lot of friends that are like, like about a decade older than me. And they're like, yeah, their son died. And I was like, what? And like, I remember when they were born, what I mean? And it's just like, that shit keeps me up, And
I have friends, I don't have children, but I have friends my age that do. And they're like, it's tricky because you encourage your teenage kid to not be sheltered. And you're like, maybe you want your teenage kid to experiment and test the waters and, obviously not go do heroin, but maybe party a little bit, maybe drink a little bit, maybe smoke some weed. whatever. But nowadays you can just be doing something, which in the 80s or 90s was somewhat mildly innocent, and you die. And it's not that you get addicted to heroin and do heroin for a couple of years and then overdose. It's you try it one time and it's over.
Man, I did heroin for years. I did, coke and meth and everything for years. And the last time I overdosed, didn't even realize what I'd done. I just remember holding it in my hand, and the next thing I know, I'm waking up in a hotel room with this dude from that movie Gummo. He's gone. That's the last dude I remember hanging out with. He's gone. There's a girl crying in the corner. The EMTs were like, jumped back. They're like, we're about to call it. And I was like, what do you mean you're about to fucking call it? Like, no, I'm good. I gotta go. I gotta go. They're like, no, you gotta go back to that. I had to get Narcan like intravenously, like 2 or 3 more times in the hospital too. So that was terrifying. And I had a tolerance, you know? So like, if I had a tolerance, it would have killed anyone else, so that shit is terrifying, Because I was like, just woke up, like, just, thank God. Like,
just on this topic of the fentanyl and the crazy drugs that are out there now, I don't understand the premise. Like, if I was selling a product, whatever the product was,
why are you lying to me about how strong the drugs are?
I would want my product to be good enough for people that like it, but also good enough that they could keep liking it and I could keep selling them drugs. So
like, think about it this way. You buy a motorcycle from somebody. You think it's a regular motorcycle. You get on it. Next thing you know, it's a fucking jet engine. You're flying through town going 800 miles an hour and you crash into a wall and you die. Why didn't you tell me that had a fucking jet engine on it? I would have probably not throttle bodied it like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy. Like, just don't lie to people about how strong the drugs are, or just like, make them weaker or something. You get more out of that.
In the, the 80s, everybody got into cocaine. And it was like, yeah, cocaine, woo. And then in the 90s, people were like, you know what we can do? We can mix this cocaine down and stretch it out, and it'll be weaker, and we could sell more of it. No, before they started rocking it up, they could just mix it down and dilute it so that turn 1 kilo into 2 kilos, sell, and it's weaker cocaine.
But it makes you shit just as much because the baby laxative.
But you make more money. But if you make it stronger and they die, that customer's gone.
Yeah, they're like, hey, let's put fentanyl in this cocaine. It's like, if I do a lot of coke and I start getting sleepy, I'm going to Walgreens and getting some Narcan immediately.
It just doesn't. The only thing that makes sense to me is that it is an all-out attack.
It is, and it absolutely is. So, okay, when we were in Afghanistan and we were like, they were, growing all the opium and shit like that, and they were, they were doing that, and heroin was on the rise and stuff like that. Well, when we left or whatever, the Taliban came into the region that was growing all the opium and said, no more opium. We're not doing that. No more narco-terrorism. No, we're not growing anymore. So then all of a sudden fentanyl became super prevalent, which is, it's made in China, but it comes through Mexico. How the fuck does it get from point A to point B? But then all of a sudden it's like really recognizable coming through the southern borders, because it's like it's narco-terrorism, man. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know if it's our own government. I don't know if it's in that foreign government. I'm sure it's a little of both.
Yeah. There's many, many factors in cahoots making that happen. Just that not one small operation is pulling this off.
Why couldn't they do it with LSD? We have a lot better time.
Right?
Yeah. Can you imagine just everyone was just like, instead of, they're just standing in a drive-through line too long, but not from nodding out.
The problem with LSD is it's too cheap. You can get a hit of acid and it lasts you like a long time.
And some people are like, I'm never doing that again.
You do a hit of crack, and 20 minutes later you want another hit of crack. You're not buying a hit of
you're
not buying a hit of LSD every 20 minutes. You know what I mean? The market there. I did used to sell LSD as a kid, and it was I did make some money, but I wasn't making crack money. Like, then they came out with the movies that came out about the crack houses where it's just like hundreds of people sorting crack in their underwear, and and these gangsters are making like millions of dollars a night, selling just.
The thing is, though, is like the customer base is entirely different. Like when you're selling cocaine, even versus selling crack, you're dealing with two completely different types of people. So like, I don't like dealing with meth heads. I don't like dealing with crackheads. I don't mind dealing with lawyers and shit. I know that they're not going to try to fucking kill me and put their skinny little arm through the window and fucking choke me out or something, So.
Yeah. So 14 on meth.
Yeah.
But you went to rehab for some
alcohol,
some bullshit.
And when I would say I was on meth, I wasn't like doing it every day all the time. You know how hard it is for a 14-year-old who lives in the freaking middle of the woods to get it all the time?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can't even buy Sudafed at that age.
But then then what happens? You go through. At what point had you already started playing guitar at this time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was doing meth. What do you think? I was playing guitar for like 12 hours a fucking day.
But when you're 14, 15, or like what age did you start playing guitar?
I was in 2007, like 7th grade. I don't know. I think I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my stepdad bought a Fender Strat from a meth head for $150, which is a great deal. You know, so
killer deal.
Yeah, and he was like,
that's the upside to the meth heads is you can get a quality product for a low price from them.
Yep.
They sell a lot of guns. Mm-hmm. Sell a lot of stereo equipment.
They sell a lot of other people's shit.
Hey, they have sold a lot of my own CDs back in the days when we used to break into my car and steal CD wallets.
Right. Yeah, I love it. I'm like, how, like, you know, I mean, they'd probably just find it. I mean, they got so many fucking headlamps. You know, they didn't buy all those fucking headlamps. None of them work. All the fucking lithium batteries have been taken out of them, you know?
All right, so you're already playing guitar at that time, but then I mean, when did you start having a major problem with drugs?
Well, a major
in
problem.
High school.
Well, my own personal major problem, but I mean, other people's drug problem up to that point was my problem, you know, being put in state's custody, taken away from my parents. So like drugs have always been a problem.
Yeah.
From the time I remember, even if it wasn't my problem, it still affected my life. But my own personal problem, I would say around like 17, I graduated high school, and DCS, which is like, you know, Child Protective Services in Tennessee, were like, hey, we're going to put you in state's custody till you're 19. I was like, cool, I'm going to Alabama. Good fucking luck finding me. So I went down there and sold acid to like college kids at UNA and shit like that, and just kind of floated around until I turned 18, and then came back and started drinking really, really heavily. Started doing a lot of coke, a lot of meth and shit like that. And then I guess it all came to a head when I was like 25. Started going to jail, started getting into fights, overdosing and suicide attempts and shit. Like, you know, took a little grippy sock vacation a time or two, which sucks because it's so weird. It's like you're being held captive for trying to, you know, hurt yourself. And you're like, is that illegal? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh shit, you know.
It's a crazy law.
It is a crazy law.
I have, sadly, I've had a few friends that have taken their own life in the last few years. And obviously this last, 2020 was hard on a lot of people. And it's, there's been a few people that, that had struggled outwardly with depression for a while, and that I was aware that they had some internal emotional issues, and then there's a couple people that you just never knew until, and you just don't, and you, as a friend, it's a really hard thing to deal with, thinking, what could I have done? You know what I mean? And, a couple of my friends were not in the same state as me. And so you kind of give yourself this little pass, like, well, there's nothing I could have done. I'm in Texas. You know what I mean? Or, it just leaves you wondering, like, what the fuck, because from someone else's point of view, it doesn't seem as bad as they think it is, obviously. Because it didn't seem like,
I mean, it's such a, self-obsessed ideation that it's not that they don't factor in other people, and there's just that they can't. They're so distraught in their own chaotic, depressing world, especially the people that you don't even know. I mean, they don't even know how to exhibit signs to other people. You know what I mean? They're just like, yep, tired of, they wake up one morning, they're like, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah, it's really hard for a lot of people to grasp the concept, and it's really hard to deal with it when it happens to a close friend or when it's a family member or something. And it's like,
and it happens a lot when people get clean too, because, like for me, my own experience, I still struggle with anhedonia, which is like, an inability to enjoy shit. Like everything right now in my life that is happening is good, you know, and I love that. But like I find most days I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
The only time I feel any sort of joy or real human emotion is when I'm around my son, which I mean, it's kind of, you know, selfishly, you know, to attach that to him. But I mean, really it's the truth, you know, like it's hard for me to enjoy good things. And I think it's also a part of always waiting for the other shoe to drop, being used to that chaos and being able to predict what's going to happen, because you're like, oh, I'm about to spiral. This is good. I know what's going to happen next. But like when good things are happening, I'm just like, when's it going to blow up in my hand, you know?
Yeah, there's been another thing I always fall back on for my own personal self is the PMA, the positive mental attitude, you know, and I've had a lot of conversations about that. And a lot of my friends, you know, kind of like growing up, we kind of embraced that attitude pretty young. And when I got sober pretty young, we talked about it a little bit. And I just, you know, I kind of like learned this philosophy through punk rock music to choose to be positive, you know, and to choose to be, you know, whatever. And it's there's days where that is hard to do. You know what I mean?
And there's, I mean,
but
also human suffering is part of also being a human. I mean, there's such thing as toxic positivity where, you know, it completely, it not only does it ostracize from people around you who may be suffering, but it also kind of like minimizes everyone else's suffering as well, you know.
And it could be, you could just be masking anything that's bad going on. You could just ignore it until it's too late to ignore it.
Exactly. It completely, you know what I mean? Like it glazes over the human experience. I mean, you know, you're not supposed to enjoy shit all the time. I mean, you know, but I mean, it sucks when like you're experiencing neither, you know what I mean? Cause like I'm bipolar. I've been bipolar my whole life, you know? So like I have like crazy ups and crazy lows and shit. So like, I'm kind of grateful for that because I have like a contrast and I have you know, I don't know what's at the top of this hill, but I damn sure know what's waiting at the bottom, and I definitely don't want to fucking go there. So I'm just going to keep pushing, you know?
Well, I think you're in a sweet spot right now to make the trajectory keep going in a positive direction. You know, you've got, seemingly from my point of view, you've got a lot of inspiration and you've got a lot of energy, you know, in your music. You have a lot of emotion in your music, and you're pouring it out, and and people are grasping onto it. You know, you told me a story about the guy who tried out to be in your band, and the reason he wanted to be in the band is that your music is what helped him through a tough time in his life.
Yeah, he's still in my band, Ben, our bass player. We had we were going to do auditions and stuff, and he basically bullied his way into the audition, and I just really appreciated how much of an asshole he was, you know. And he's from Ohio, and I fucking hate that place. So I was like, you know, you got some things going against you in my book, so I think that, you know, let's see, you know. And it worked out. He's awesome. He went through his, you know, his mother passing away and shit, and you know, my grandfather was like my father, you know. So like when he passed away is when I kind of like lost my shit, you know, because it was very unexpected. And I think grief is something that's like so different for everybody, but it's still very similar. The feelings are the same, you know. At first you're like, you know, of course there's like in denial, and then there's anger, and I mean, anger is a secondary emotion. Anger is just an inability that you didn't recognize the motion that preceded it.
Yeah, it's like a reaction.
It's a reaction, yeah. It's like, you know, and it could be from jealousy or fear or, you know, or whatever. I mean, really it all boils down to fear, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'd say a lot of times people get angry to avoid being weak, you know, or avoid being vulnerable. You know, instead of admitting that it's
a primal emotion.
Yeah, you try to just rise up and
fear is the whole reason humanity has gotten this far. It's like, oh, I don't want to be torn apart by that fucking saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But then modern society is literally people tearing themselves apart, which is insane to me. You know, this is another reoccurring topic, you know, just with modern society, the drugs, the internet, you know, the things that people are concentrating on that are not beneficial to positive mental health. You know,
it's so weird. They're trying to numb themselves while also trying to make themselves feel anything whatsoever at the same time. And it's very fucking confusing.
Well, you want to numb yourself from certain things, but then you want to maximize and get this all this intense feeling every second.
I tell everybody as soon as humans started stacking stones in a circle and shitting inside of it is when things kind of went downhill. Where is our purpose? There is no purpose, motherfucker. You're here to fucking die and turn into nitrogen. That's it.
There has been a lot of added purpose to the human existence. Every generation has added a new purpose. You know what I mean? Or
there's not one.
I mean,
I'm not a nihilist, okay?
Nah, but your purpose is to make music right now. You know what I mean? And your purpose is to care for this child that you have, and your purpose is to, you know what I mean? But I think that I think a lot of people also confuse like their ability and their desires with their purpose. You know what I mean? Like when I say your purpose is to make music, like sure it is. I mean, that's my ability. Yeah. But is it really my purpose? It's just what I'm doing.
I just think too fucking much and like just create these doomsday scenarios in my head. So like I'm literally trying to do anything with my hands. Like I've had, like we've talked about, you know, you've always done, you know, stuff with our hands and shit like that. It's just because I have all this pent up fear and energy and like all this what if, and that drives myself nuts. So like it's easier just to play a couple chords and scream into a microphone to strangers.
Yeah, but you're not just playing a couple chords and screaming. You're communicating vast amounts of knowledge, whether it's knowledge but it's information and lyrics. Listening to your lyrics, it's not there's not mindless jabber. You know what I mean? It's not just "Hey Ho, Let's Go," which I love. Hey Ho, Let's Go. Yeah, don't get me wrong; it's my one of my favorite bands of all time.
It's a blitzkrieg bop.
But you know, just being able to put a lot of thought and have a song that doesn't just have the repeating chorus over and over. That just has, you know, more along the lines of a Bob Dylan. You know, a lot of thought process into putting complex lyrics together.
I love when people always bring up Bob Dylan. I'm like, you talk about Robert Zimmerman?
Yeah, you love him.
Yeah.
You love him. There's a new song about Bob Dylan. Well, it's in, I don't know if it's about Bob Dylan.
It's not about Bob Dylan.
No, but it references Bob Dylan.
Yeah, facetiously, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like Bob Dylan. I really do. It's just funny. I'm going to change my name to Robert Zimmerman Wilson.
I think you should just be Double W, man.
Yeah, Double W.
Double W.
Because I've taken enough L's.
So you're getting out of high school. You're on drugs. You're in and out of jail for various things. Like I was the same. I was in and out of jail for bullshit, stealing wood to build skate ramps, or fucking breaking into fucking houseboats and stealing whatever.
They're so easy to break into.
The houseboat?
Yes.
There's nobody there.
There's no one there.
In the winter. So this whole story, there's me and some friends. Like my friend lived on the lake.
Yeah.
And
my buddy Rob did too. His boat sank this past winter.
The fucking in the wintertime. There's just hundreds of boats.
Yeah.
And there's nobody within miles around.
Doors are made of fucking plastic. If you pull it hard enough, it's going to open.
We went and we robbed a couple of houseboats. And then the next night, we went and robbed the next couple of houseboats. And then the next night, we went and robbed in like within a short amount of time, we just looted this entire strip of houseboats. And then we're like, man, what else can we fucking steal?
Yeah.
But then there's the garages. Where people park their ski boats.
Yeah.
But the garage is on the water. So you can just swim under and pop up. Now, it's cold.
All right, 007.
It's cold, so you got to get cold and wet. But I would swim under there, pop up, jump in the ski boat, take the water skis, and throw them out. And my other friend would swim out, grab them. And then we just started driving around town pawning water skis. And water skis are expensive.
Yeah, but that's how I built this out.
You know, getting in a lot of trouble doing dumb shit when you're a teenager. And I mean, I told you earlier, I was very lucky to get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
really young.
I've been trying to break into the water ski racket, honestly.
So I got in a lot of trouble, and totally turned my life around at 20 years old, which is I feel very fortunate for.
Plus, like when you're in jail, and they're like, "What are you in here for?" You're like, water skis. Or like, get the fuck out of here.
I was literally sitting in jail in Fort Worth, Texas, and all these guys were in there, and it was like just tough dudes in there. And I'm this little kid, and they're like, "What you in here for, white boy?" And I'm like, "I was stealing wood." And they're like, "Stealing wood? What the fuck you stealing wood?" I was like, "Building a skate ramp." You know? And they're like, "Well, goddamn, why are you in jail for that?" I was like, It was a lot of wood.
It was a lot of wood.
How much wood? I was like, I don't know. They said it was like $10,000 worth, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
You turned Home Depot into Homeless Depot.
Well, they were building like houses.
Yeah.
You know, rows of houses.
Yeah.
And we went there in the middle of the night and just stole
Hey, man.
truckloads of plywood and truckloads of 2x6s.
Dude, those dumpsters out there on those job sites, you find some of the coolest shit ever. I saw someone throw away a whole ass chainsaw. I don't even know what brand it was, but give it to my mom's ex-boyfriend. He got it running. He's like, this is my favorite chainsaw I've ever had. It still runs to this day. And it's like old and like bulky. Like it's like, I was like, wow.
It probably fouled the plug and they're like, throw it away.
Yeah. No, it was a mechanical thing. It was a gasoline chainsaw. It was crazy.
So you're at what point in this in and out of jail and on and off drugs, at what point did you decide to make a go at being a musician?
Well, I think high school, me and my buddy Greg, still best friends to this day. Probably one of the only bridges I
had the dream of being in a band, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'd play around. I mean, we were playing in like places we weren't even really supposed to be in, so we had to leave as soon as we got done playing music and like go back home and then go to school the next day, you know, shit like that. And we were like, we're gonna do this, you know, we're gonna do this. We always said we were, you know, gonna do it, and we're both doing it separately, you know, but we're both doing it. We're not in a band together anymore, but we're still talk, you know, we talk every day, and he's great. But yeah, I think I kind of just always wanted to, you know, even before I started playing guitar, I was still writing like songs in my head and you know, just always singing and shit. So, you know, I don't think I remember a moment in my life where I didn't want to do this.
Well, was there a point when you kind of actually started to believe it was going to work?
Well, there was a point where I had to believe it was going to work because I was like, you know, on my fucking third felony, and I was like, damn, I can't even fucking sell Marlboros inside of a fucking gas station. You know, like this better work out. Because I'm not putting on another metal roof. Yeah. Like I will accidentally fall off the fucking roof and collect Social Security for the rest of my life.
Well, I say if you ever go back to roofing, you should move to Texas.
Yeah, because
it's hotter here.
It's hotter. Yeah, it's hotter.
Yeah. But so, I mean, your son
too. So
what's that?
I said I did granite too, and that's also not easy. Being 5'8" and 150 fucking pounds, carrying a big ass pieces of fucking granite upstairs for rich people, you know, it's not
in their houses that aren't built yet, so the AC's not on. Right.
And their houses they think they're these great things, but they're built like shit. They're shotgun houses. You know?
Oh yeah.
So everything's built like shit now, except for the granite, you know.
Yeah, they just polishing the turd.
Putting on rock that's millions and millions of years old on top of fucking particle board. Are you fucking kidding me?
They do
this
it.
Is not going to last. What are you talking about?
They do it.
I know they do it. They do it, and they smile about it. And they tell you not to put your keys on the fucking countertop. Don't scratch the marble. You know this is what it's made for. It's rock. You know, it's rocks. Like, do we need to do anything to treat it? Do you need to do anything to treat billions of years old of rock? No, motherfucker, just leave it alone. Or you can cut on it. You can do anything you want on it. Or you think you're going to fuck up something that old? It's got pieces of dinosaur in it, bud.
Dinosaur counter.
Yeah.
All right, so your son is 3 years old.
He is.
So that's only in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. We got to get into this how you've navigated this I guess for lack of better words, the mess.
Like my career, or like
well, no, how you've navigated getting your career together throughout the mess that you've.
It's kind of weird, man.
Kind of crawling out.
Nothing really started popping off for me at all until Jude was born, and I think that I think it's because like when I was just living for myself, I didn't give a fuck about myself. You know, I didn't care if I lived or died. I didn't care. I did not treat myself well. You know, but when he was born and like the doctor was not in the room, and it was kind of, I was like, hey, you know, to the nurse, I was like, where's the doctor? You know, he's coming. And she's like, I don't know. I was like, well, you've done this before, right? She's like, I've been here like a week. I just got a nurse's school. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, what are we gonna do? She's like, I guess deliver this baby. So like we pulled him out, and as soon as I saw him, like it was like, I always thought I was like this deep esoteric songwriter that had felt more emotion than anyone else. No, I didn't even know what love was until I saw him covered in amniotic fluid and shit, and just like, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. So I think that just like clicked something in me, you know. And I love him, man. He thinks I'm the coolest guy in the world, and Sarah hates that, I'm sure. But no, she's cool. But he does. He's you know, he knows he's my best friend. You know, I mean, we talk about stuff. I don't talk to him like he's 3 because he's already like, even though he can not talk that well, you know, or whatever, he's still, you can see the wheels just turning. He does shit facetiously, and you can see it in his eyes, you know, like he knows when he's like bothering somebody, and he'll look back at me and I'm like, you know, go ahead, bother them, like fuck, blow their mind if you can, you know, like he already likes to make shit up. He's not lying. He's just making shit up to get a reaction out of you, and it pisses people off. And you know, he knows it. You know what I mean? And I love that shit. He's already telling stories, and it's awesome.
But you've got a decent relationship with the baby mama.
Yeah, she's been man, I put that girl through hell, to be honest.
How long were y'all
together before I knew her for 3 months before she got pregnant.
And how long were y'all attempting to stay in some sort of relationship?
I would say till Jude was maybe 1.5 to 2. I don't know. We were like kind of on and off after Jude was born, you know, and even before that, it was still rocky, you know.
I mean, it's only 3 months.
I was not the easiest. Yeah. And I'm not the easiest person to get along with, you know, cause like I'm like king of Irish goodbye. Like I would just leave, you know what I mean? I would just disappear. Like, he can't have gone far. He's not even allowed to leave the state. Wrong. Waking up in Indiana and shit with a professional bull rider. You're like, oh fuck, what do we do? You know, but, nah, I put her through a lot. We have a good relationship today, but, yeah, man, she's a trip though. She's one of the funniest people that I think that I've ever met, you know, but she's a good mom, a really good mom. I'm really grateful because, I wouldn't have picked anybody else, you know, to have a child with, because she's just that responsible, but also like has fun. She's spontaneous, and you know, she doesn't she worries about stuff, but it's never outwardly, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not good to internalize stuff like that, but also I think that she knows deep down that I always got her back, whether it be money or whatever. If she calls me and she's like, hey, I'm stranded here, I need you to come get me, I'll drop everything and go, you know.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about that fucking yesterday, how it's a tough situation to be in when you have an ex basically that's the mother of your child, and you're in a new relationship, but you still have commitments to another woman.
Oh, I mean,
you have to deal with,
and I'm outright.
You have to find a new girlfriend that's okay with you going to your exes to do things,
or they find me, and I'm just like, you know, like they're just like, you know, if they have a problem with it, I'm like, if that's a problem for you, then you need to get the fuck out, because I'm never not gonna, you know, take care of Jude's mother. You know what I mean? Like whatever she needs. Like, I mean, that's just the thing. I'll be alone forever if I have to. I don't care. I don't need to feel that void in my heart anymore, really. You know, but I mean, if they want to kick it, sure, you know, or whatever. I mean, sex is sex or whatever. I don't need to be in love. I don't need that. I'm married to the game, baby. Nah, but you're also a stepdaddy.
Yeah, dude.
I was, you know, before, you know, me and Sarah split, so don't really get to see him and stuff, but he still wants me to teach him guitar and stuff, and he's a good kid.
But that's your son's brother, basically.
Yeah,
you're
it is.
Be attached
no, not
to that
basically.
Kid somehow.
Not
yeah.
Like
half brother. Yeah, it's a half brother to your son, so you're also attached to that. It seems like a lot to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, everything my wife's, I'm a lot to deal with.
Yeah,
you know, so I'm used to that.
Yeah,
you're
a pretty feral creature.
I know. I want shit to be so intense.
Hey, but you slept in the bed last night.
I did, and I didn't want to, but you're like, I promise you to try it, and I was like, all right, but usually I get sad when I lay in bed because it's huge and empty, you know. But I did not want to wake up when you were calling me this morning. Like, this motherfucker's already told me 12 o'clock. It's only 11:50. I got 10 more minutes. Yeah, it was dark in there, man. It's like a fucking goddamn dungeon.
Yeah, the guest room, there is zero light.
Yeah,
you
were
like,
anybody else would be like, this motherfucker's gonna try to keep me in here forever.
You're like, I get up early. When the sun comes up, I wake up. I'm like, hey, ain't no sun come up in that room.
Yeah, that's what I was
buddy.
like. When the sun's up, I'm up. And you're like, you will never know when the sun comes up. I was like, hey, if I was anybody else, I would probably leave right now.
Oh yeah,
there's no sun in this room. It's just like all of a sudden you wake up in a cargo container.
No windows, pitch black.
Yeah,
and it's the cave in there, man.
Yeah. He lives in a series of subterranean cargo tunnels lit by single incandescent light bulbs.
Yeah.
He's like a
yell down the well at you.
Yeah, like a hobbit.
Are you ready for breakfast?
Yeah.
um.
Push lotion on its skin.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, you slept.
Yeah.
Slept like a rock.
Like a rock. I'm probably gonna do that again.
You're feeling good.
Yeah.
Turn over a new leaf. Sleeping in the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty funny. Pretty funny. It just, you were like looking for what's the best spot on the floor to sleep on.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna sleep in that van thing.
You're like, oh, can I just sleep here? I feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you need a pillow?
I mean,
can I get a blanket?
Okay, you got to think. I mean, like numerous times in my life, I've just had to sleep on pieces of flat metal with a cot that thin, you know. So like, honestly, my back feels better when I'm laying on something hard.
Yeah. So you got this. So now, things are kind of picking up.
Yeah.
And things are looking pretty good. I mean, I found out, about you through the internet, through the Instagram, and I don't personally, I mean, I think some of these videos you post on Instagram are TikTok videos that go on the Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, I know they cross over some.
Yeah. But man, you've got some really, really interesting, you know, music videos that you put out. Obviously they look, you know, that no one else is a part of this you know, looks like you're just doing this yourself.
I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
You can say it.
No, I'm saying, no, you're not. These aren't like heavily produced.
No.
It's just like cell phone videos sitting in a car, using cool acoustics, heavily lyric-based songs, and highly energetic, and, you know, some self-deprivating and some, you know, tragic.
Yeah.
Tragic.
It's so weird because sometimes there's a limit to where like self-deprecating becomes almost like bragging. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like a weird a thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm a shittier person than you are. I'll prove it.
Yeah.
You know?
But things are taking off. You're doing good. You got some more crazy shit on the horizon. You've got another girlfriend. How much do you want to talk about that?
Not. Yeah, not right now. It's I think that's who's blowing me up. But yeah, it's a little wild. I mean,
you're the mud is getting thicker. You're about to walk back into the swamp.
I know. I don't got my floaties on this time either.
Well, we can go. We don't have to go down that whole rabbit hole there.
Yeah, I'm sweating visibly now.
Why?
Did you see what you did? You just triggered a trauma.
I mean, I heard some crazy ass shit. I mean, some people might know about some of this shit.
Okay, all right.
There's certain.
I want shit to be.
You're a pretty feral creature.
God, you're not a good person sometimes. I love how real you are, though. You're like fucking Nardwar on a motorcycle.
I mean, I will say this: you've got a lot of motivation to fucking really stay on track and keep gas now.
Do I have a fucking choice, honestly, though?
No, I'm saying you got the motivation that you need to keep it together.
Yeah.
Because you got more shit coming down the pipeline.
Yep.
And what is coming? You got this probation deal. For those of you who don't know, he's on probation, got many years left of probation. It's hard for you to, you know, you got to get permission to travel.
Yeah.
But you're coming to Dallas to play on Fest, and you're doing many dates. What, 10 or so dates across different areas?
Yeah, they're on it's on the like the website and on Bands in Town and stuff. You can find the tour schedule. I've posted it several times.
And
stuff, but we're doing a lot of
band tour.
The cool thing is about Texas is that like you could just tour Texas and it's like so many places to go play, you know. But I mean, I'm also playing in like, you know, Kentucky and in Nashville. We're playing with Papadocio and some other places, but like the Texas dates are the ones I'm most stoked about, you know.
Well, you're playing Elm Fest for us, and then the next weekend you're going to be out at the Southern Throwdown.
And then in between there, I'm been playing in like Austin and San Antonio and other places, which I'm so stoked about. So I love Texas. I can't wait to get off probation in Tennessee and come here and get put on probation in Texas.
Yeah. Put that transfer paperwork in.
Yeah.
Just get hired on to some roofing job and tell them you're moving to Texas.
Yeah.
Be a roofer.
You know what? I wasn't miserable enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, so this full band tour, and have you played in Dallas before?
No, I haven't.
So it's your first down. This would be down the Deep Elm at Cheap Steaks on Elm Street, right down the street from the tat shop. And I met your buddy Rob last night.
Me and Rob got a long, wild history. He lives in Dallas now.
Yeah, I mean, he's another interesting character. Yeah, nomadic.
Big Chicago dude that actually lived in Nashville for most of his adult life.
He doesn't look like a Chicago guy.
Yeah,
obviously.
Well, he's not anymore.
No, he's been in Nashville long enough to be a Nashville guy.
He's been gentrified along with everything else in Nashville.
Yeah. But he's playing a show too.
Yeah, he's opening up for me at Cheap Steaks. So
yeah,
he's actually is in a band called Deborah, but I think he's playing solo. He's probably like bringing a drummer.
Yeah, he played a couple songs last night, man. That national guitar he had is really cool, man.
Yeah, that Radiator one.
Yeah,
cool.
Really cool guitar, really cool sound. He's got kind of has that Tom Waits kind of growl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to say that he's not original. I'm just saying that he's definitely got a cool sound.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are chiming in, we are going to get Double W right here, old Dylan, to play a song or two at the end of this, and we'll video it and put it up on the end. So think about what are you going to play? Got some ideas?
Yeah. I'm working on this one song called Marlboro Man. I really like it. Seems to be resonating pretty well. Probably play pretty okay. I'm excited to record those two. Like, I don't know. I'm excited about these dates, but I'm also really excited to get back in the studio and release some new music, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited for that, but I'm also excited to see the whole band play live. You know, I've never seen you play live. I've only seen your videos, but I really do like these videos you do in the car, you know, and my assumption is that you're doing that for the acoustics of being in that small car, or just the aesthetic of looking like you're in a junkyard somewhere.
No, I do it because it's the only place no one can hear me at my house, you know?
Yeah.
So like,
well, that works.
You know, I don't like when people are like, can hear it, even if they're like, oh, it doesn't bother me. I'm like, I don't give a fuck, motherfucker. It bothers me.
I'm trying to be alone right now. Yeah.
I don't even like when people are standing, or I can hear people walking around while I'm shitting. You know what I mean? I have to pretend that no one else is in the house, that everyone on the planet has fucking died, and I live in this dystopian fucking future where everyone on the planet's dead and it's only me, and that's the only way I'm comfortable enough to shit. Because like when you're living in a room with one other man and you can't leave that room and you have to shit in front of him and stuff, like you start to really appreciate. Yeah.
There's no door.
Camp.
There's no door on the shitter in jail.
It's more like bummer camp.
Yeah.
I wish you could just leave. Like, hey, I think I learned my lesson. I'm ready to go. We used to tell like new kids that come in for the first time, like when you're out in the pod and stuff, you can tell they've never been to jail for like, hey, did you tell them what flavor ice cream you wanted for dinner? And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, dude, dinner's about to be served. You need to go hit that button, and you need to tell them they only have vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry though. And they're like, oh, I was like, yeah, you better go tell them, dude, or you're not going to get any. And they only feed you twice a day in Giles County, so you need to get on it and tell them. And they'd be like, I want chocolate ice cream. And they'd be like, go fuck yourself. What are you talking about? I'm like, sorry, dude. You got to learn.
Had to do it.
Had to do it to them.
Well, last night, it's a funny story. I'm going to tell a funny story.
Okay, God.
We don't have a lot of funny stories together.
Yeah.
We just met.
Yeah.
So our history is short, but so far it's been a whirlwind. I'll tell you that right now. There's already been some highs and lows, but last night after many numerous humorous moments, it came time to take a shower.
Oh, God damn.
Fucking Dylan here goes and gets in the shower, and the shower is
very cool.
It's a complicated mechanism of a shower device.
I don't know what the fuck you were thinking.
And he goes in there, and I get it on for him, and he gets in there. But then he goes and fucking with the knob or whatever, and the water goes to all the way hot, scalding, scorching hot. And this water, the water here, we have this inline water heater thing, and it gets hot
and powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about water pressure.
And so he's in there, and all of a sudden, me and Rob hear him start screaming, and he's like, he opens the door of the bathroom. He's fucking wet rat, butt naked, and he's like, and when he opens the door, billows of smoke come out of the bathroom. It's steamy. And he looks out the door and he's like, I'm burning up. And he's holding the knob in his hand. He broke the knob off the shower and it suck on hot. Yeah. And he can't turn it down. And he's like,
what do I do?
He's covered in soap. And fucking boiling hot, and he can't get in there, and he's dripping soap and water all over the floor, and he's like, I don't know what to... And I'm like, so I ran and I got a pair of channel lock pliers and handed it to him so he could go in there and turn the water back down the cooler.
So I'm just in there like taking a shower with a pair of channel locks.
I was like, hey, dude, that water gets hot. He goes, oh, I know. Fucking hot, buddy. Oh God!
Oh, I feel like a fucking lobster.
It's pretty funny, yeah. But we did figure out the problem. There's a little set screw on the knob that had backed off, and so turned the knob. It went all the way to hot, and then the knob was no longer turning the temperature. And then, in his frustration, the knob came off.
The thing is, at first I was hiding in the corner where the water couldn't get me to get out. I had to take that leap of faith. I had to trust that door was going to open up fast enough when I got there because I'm getting blasted. I'm just getting blasted. So I was just like. So just open it, but out. But it got me. It got me. Burnt my little ass up.
Hey, I shit you not, dude. Like in the sink, like the water gets hot, you can't even put your hand underneath it. So I know exactly.
I'm very aware.
I know exactly what's going on. But I don't know how you got in there and got all soaked up, and then it got that hot.
Well, I was like trying to just adjust it, and I was like, I mean, first off, man. It looks you have to have a fucking plumbing degree to even know how this shit works. I'm like,
there is a bunch of knobs.
Yeah, I'm like,
because there's all these different jets that shoot in different directions.
Yeah, the only time I was ever faced with something similar is I was at this woman's 40th birthday party. I can't drop her name, but I went in there and she had this
her name was Jill.
No, she had this fucking toilet.
Her name was Janice.
She had this toilet with all these buttons and shit on it. And I'm like, how complicated do you need to make it to take a shit? Like. We don't need buttons. It doesn't need to look like Star Trek when you're trying to shit.
She had the fucking.
It's not just a bidet. Not just a bidet. This thing looked like the buttons looked like it was like belonged on a hospital bed. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I didn't know how to flush it. I didn't know how to flush it. I was just like, hey, I may have fucked your presets up on your toilet because I had to push a bunch of buttons just to figure out how to flush the motherfucker. So she's like, what? And I'm like. Figure it out. I don't know. Maybe you can go back in and reprogram it. I don't know. Run a diagnostic. I don't know.
There's still a turd in there?
No, I finally got it to flush, but I had to push a bunch of. I mean, I'm not shitting you. There was a bunch.
All
you
need is one little.
That's it. Just like you don't like those.
I mean, that shower probably should have a little instruction manual on the side over there.
Yeah. I mean, the knobs are in a line too. It's not like okay. Yeah,
which one does what?
It's like, what the fuck is this? And like, I forgot this part. One of the knobs turns it on from this shower head to this shower head. Yeah. So I'm just like trying to figure it out. And like, wow, hit you in the fucking face. I'm like, shit. I feel like I was in a fucking National Lampoon's fucking scene.
I wish I could have videoed the whole thing.
Yeah, well, that would have been illegal.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, I should. Oh, damn it! It would have been great to have a camera in there for that, though. Yeah, not if it's consensual. It's not illegal.
Yeah, that's true. But I definitely wouldn't have consented.
Oh, you would in that moment last night. Your state
only felons.
Last night, you would have consented to pretty much anything.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, I feel like you told me some things that you consented to last night that are way more over the line than the hot shower.
Yeah, I think that
this man right here will consent to some things that a lot of people would never consider.
I made it. Just started off as a joke, but I told my band, I was like, I think I'm going to be the first musician to fund my tour entirely through OnlyFans. And they're like, and I was like, I was going to call it OnlyFelons. And then I met this person, and she was like, we can make that happen. And I was like, okay, you're hot. I'm not. So let's see. Let's figure it out. And then like all of a sudden, like she was like, is it cool if I post? I was like, sure, whatever. And then she's like, hey, these people are wanting consider this. I was like, I'm not a sex worker. Okay, I don't want to be a sex worker.
Technically, you are.
I don't want to be a sex worker anymore.
Is that what you said?
Sweating again. See?
Is that you said anymore?
Anymore.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Your face isn't in it.
Mm-mm.
But for those of you who have ever heard of OnlyFans,
OnlyFelons,
look, you might get a glimpse of something a telltale sign that it's Mr. WW over there.
That's the only win God ever gave me.
The only win?
Yeah. Maybe fucking 5'8". He had to compensate somehow. 5'8", an alcoholic and a drug addict. I mean,
there you go.
What else? What else are you gonna do, God?
I don't know how much God has to do with any of this.
Yeah.
But so are you saying that your sex working days are over?
I'm retired.
Are you sure? You're not doing it anymore?
I'm not doing it anymore.
Let me ask you this question. Even though you're not actively doing it anymore, how many more previously recorded
are still out there?
Are still going to be going out?
I don't want to think about that.
But there are there.
Yeah.
There are there.
No, they're there. They're there.
I feel like we would be, maybe we'll add a link at the end of this where you can find these things. No, we won't. We will not add the link.
Yeah. That'd be pretty funny.
Hey man, it could generate some income.
It could. It could. Maybe I'll just like
I also had some pretty good tips last night how to
tips.
How to up the charges.
Yeah.
How to like get the most bang for your buck, so to speak.
Or you just like, are these all innuendos from tips to
yeah, I think you're probably the best route to proceed with is to move past that chapter of your life. And, and
it was a very short chapter, but it was a very like tumultuous time. I was like, this went from an idea to actuality into like something I'm like, oh man, now I get it. Now I know why porn stars are depressed. And I hadn't even fucking gotten there. You know, I'm just like, oh, this is not good. This happened like, this was crazy.
Do you think all porn stars are depressed?
They got to be.
I think there's a certain amount of them that are.
I was told recently that we have to call them full service sex workers, and I'm like, that's too many fucking syllables for
full service sex workers.
That's a prostitute.
Not all people that do porn are porn stars.
Right.
Like to do porn and not be a star at it, that's the bummer.
Yeah.
You're just doing it and to not make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's one, okay, you're an aspiring musician.
Technically, we're all getting fucked for money anyway.
But you're an aspiring musician and then you don't make it. Okay, you're a guy that plays guitar. Yeah. You know what I mean? You want to be an actor, you don't make it. You're a guy that did a couple commercials and never made a movie. But to attempt to be a porn star and then not make it to be a porn star, you just did all that and it didn't work out.
Right. Yeah, that would suck.
That's not a good.
Depressing.
That is not a good plan.
Like, damn, you can't even get fucked right.
I think the people that make it to actually be in the stars and actually where it is financially viable, they can come to peace with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they have options.
Yeah. You just have to get to that point where you just either have zero relationship with your family or you don't know your family, you don't care. Because, you know, it's like...
I mean, imagine being a kid and like some other kid comes up to you and say, hey, I saw your mom get gangbanged. Like,
yeah, nobody wants that.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to beat your ass after school because you know it's going to fucking...
I mean, nobody wants their daughter doing that shit. Nobody wants their mother doing that shit.
Imagine just telling your son, like, hey, don't ever go on the internet. Ever. Ever.
Hey, and here's one thing that I can attest to is once it's on the internet, it's always on the internet.
It's always on the internet, yeah. I've deleted videos that I've made from like...
Oh, they're there.
They're there.
They can find them. They're saved.
Yeah.
They're saved in some massive database.
The only way to like sort of hide it is just do even more unhinged shit and just cover it up. And then it's like, oh, this guy's...
They're not going to keep looking for the mild shit when they find the gold.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just going to dilute the internet as much as possible with a bunch of crazy shit just so that the crazy shit I don't want seen is harder to find. It's like a little Easter egg.
That may or may not be a good plan.
Yeah, I want you to have to download a Tor browser to find that shit.
That may or may not be the good plan. All right, at this moment in the show, we're gonna take a short potty break.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette and wipe all this sweat off my brow.
We'll be right back. What in the Duck podcast is proud to be sponsored by Legacy Ink, the finest in tattoo pigments. I have been using this ink exclusively for over 20 years myself. It has been recently rebranded and marketed, but it has been the same recipe for decades. Real, hand-mixed tattoo pigments that heal great and last. People always comment on the yellow that I use and the yellow tattooed on me. My favorite, the Mayan yellow. I have seen countless 20-plus-year-old tattoos with the colors still vivid. Don't fuck around with all these newfangled companies with their watered down baloney. Get the tried, true, and tested good shit. You can find them on Instagram at Legacy Pigments or email Ashley today to place an order at legacyartsupplies@gmail.com. Tell them Oliver sent you and receive a special discount. Don't just do tattoos. Be a part of a legacy. All right, back from the PP cigarette break.
That sounds like a band name.
You were asking about
PP Cigarette. That's our new band.
Oh, PP Cigarette.
Yeah.
PP WW and the PP Cigarette.
Yeah.
You're asking about Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
I have a fair amount of Pee Wee collectibles.
Yeah.
I grew up loving Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, my child's mother loves Pee Wee Herman too. It's just like unsettling, you know. Unsettles me for some reason. Some of it just creeps me out.
He was Pee Wee's Playhouse was popular, came on when I was in high school, and I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the it was a kid's show, but it also was kind of not.
Right.
It was a little creepy, but a little eccentric and a little weird, but
your Wi-Fi is Pecker's Playhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole theme of the house is kind of like, you know, my own version of a Pee Wee's Playhouse kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But Pee Wee's was a big inspiration for a lot of my high school art and stuff like that.
I can't wait. I'd like to see that.
You know, just off the wall, kind of retro, very, you know, he had all his stylings, and even in the movies, his house in the movies was very retro, very mid-century kind of stuff, you know, the bicycle and all that stuff. So it was
something creepy about that era too, like post World War II.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, let's all pretend like we didn't just drop atomic bombs on Japan and everything's good, and let's put weird shit inside gelatin, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I love the mid-century era shit.
Yeah. Except for the people.
You don't love the people?
No, I'm just...
And you don't like Jewish people. That's what it was.
No, it's not. Don't say that.
Because I was, you know, I have some, I have some Jewish heritage, and you were trying to like.
I was poking fun.
Yeah.
No,
we love. All jokes aside.
Yeah.
You were probably too young to remember Pee Wee's Playhouse when it was new on the air.
Right. Yeah.
You were born in
94.
94. Yeah. I mean, you would have been alive, but very, very young.
Yeah.
You would have been like. Oh wait, no, you wouldn't have been alive. It was in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
You're born in 94.
Yeah, 94.
Yikes.
Yeah, you're the dog, baby.
God.
Bark, bark.
Hot diggity.
Yeah.
I graduated high school in 89, so I'm old.
Cool.
I'm old. I'm an old man. See the gray?
Yeah. You were born probably like in your 40s, though. Let's be honest.
I like old shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I like. You
have some really cool, like very eclectic taste of shit around here.
Most of the shit I like is vintage. You know, a lot of 50s, a lot of 60s, a lot of 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff I like from the 70s is stuff from my childhood.
Right.
But even when I was young, as a teenager, I liked the 50s and 60s.
What year were you? I think my mom also was graduated in 89.
I was born in 71.
My mom was born in 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's my best friend.
Maybe I'm your dad.
Maybe. Makes sense. Pain tolerance is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm a squirmer.
Yeah.
I take that back. I'm not so much a squirmer.
He's more of a squirter.
I sit still, but I scream a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cry. I was very
vocal.
I was very tender.
Yeah.
As like anything I did as a child that hurt, I was very vocal about it.
Yeah, that's okay.
I could not handle. I mean, I would continue to get hurt.
Yeah, I scream in pain for a living.
Yeah, I would. And I've told this story before, but when I first started getting tattooed, my mom thought that I would never continue getting tattooed because I was always such a crybaby. Every skinned elbow, I'm like,
kiss it.
So, but somewhat of a. And I mean, a lot of people get tattooed. They have some sort of either I don't know if it's enjoyment of the pain or a therapeutic to the pain, or a lot of people get tattooed to, in traumatic times of your life. And like when you get a tattoo that's real meaningful about something, the trauma, you kind of like embrace that pain because you feel like you're earning what you're getting or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
I
almost
never
like making it
embodied that.
tangible.
I just wanted tattoos.
Right.
And screamed through. At the end of every tattoo, I was like, I'm never doing this again. And then the next time I would just do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always like the tattoos, and people get like their like when people get breast cancer and they have to get their breast removed, and then the people that tattoo over it. Number one, that's got to be super hard because the scars are not always symmetrical or whatever, but and like the way that they cover it up or make it accented or whatever. I think it's always
nowadays there's some fucking. I got some friends that like tattoo the nipple.
Yeah.
Where there is no nipple, but they make it look like a real nipple with all the texture and the bubbles, and it's like, wow.
I saw someone where someone got 2 mandalas on both sides, and it looked really cool. Like there was like a lot of ornamental shit in between it and stuff, and I was like, man, that's really dope.
Got a tattooed tit.
Tattooed tits. Yeah, actually, you made the joke yesterday. He's like, you just want me to fill this nipple in?
Oh, yeah, I tried to convince him to let me black out one of his nipples. I was like, dude, think of, you will, like, a lot of people are into this shit. You'll probably get... You probably get a lot of traction out of it. A lot of the
sounds like a pirate.
A lot of the hip girls these days, they love that blacked out nipple thing. So you could really up your game.
Yeah.
Especially if you do continue the internet sex work, the blacked out nipple would definitely.
If you could make it look like a black flag symbol, I'll do it.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'll do it.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
No sweat.
Yeah. No, there'd be sweat.
Speaking of Black Flag, and speaking of, just like, what was the music you were into in your early years? Were you into punk rock music? I mean, you're young. You're young for Black Flag.
Yeah, but there was a pretty growing up in Columbia. There was this venue called the Atomic Rocket Lounge, and I'm still friends with Chris, the old owner and stuff. And like, so he like was sort of like this godfather of this scene of like these ostracized kids who didn't live in Nashville but lived close to Nashville. But there was like this cool like hardcore like punk scene and shit there. It's not there anymore. I'm trying to like, I actually was talking to him before I flew out, and I was like, I want to open Atomic Rocket too. I want to, because I mean Columbia is kind of like, it's near Williamson County, which is like the 16th wealthiest
It's also
county.
blowing up.
It's blowing up.
People are moving there.
People are moving there. They're naming everything after mules because we're Muletown. It's Muletown Coffee, Muletown this, Muletown fucking gynecology fucking clinic. Like,
you told me to go to Muletown Coffee.
You should. It is good, but I mean, everything has to be named after mules because we have a parade once a year where we just let mules shit in the fucking streets, and now we think that everything has to be named after
the Mule
mules.
Shit Parade.
The Mule Shit Parade. Yeah, actually, I have a.
That sounds like a bad
I have a
name.
pen. I have a pen that I keep in my vest that it says it's Mule Day 2020. I'm like, the best year that Mule Day ever happened, and it's because that was the year of COVID and it never happened. They didn't do the festival, so I only
Mule Day.
No Mule Day in 2020. It was great. It was great.
Damn it!
It was great. No one got in my fucking way in May, so.
I mean,
I'm going to be killed when I get back home for saying this shit.
2020 canceled a lot of things, but you wouldn't think that it would cancel Mule Day.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
I'm going to stay 6 feet away from you any fucking way.
Mule Day seems like a steadfast thing. Like, people are like, no matter what happens, we're having Mule Day.
We're literally celebrating. We're like,
stubborn as a mule. That's the saying.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, we're also celebrating the guy who was bored enough to make a horse fuck a donkey. So
we don't know that they were forced. It might have been consensual.
You think it just like happened? Or like, hey, that thing's kind of strong and retarded. We should keep those.
It could have been consensual between the donkey and the horse.
You don't know that. We could have been. I mean, they could have just put it in a room and stopped feeding them and see what happened. I had a buddy who had a chicken and a guinea, and they mated, and it made a gickin'. And like we were blown away.
What do you call it? What's a guinea?
A guinea is they're like these black bird-like things that like people are keeping like
bird-like. People have said that you were bird-like.
I am bird-like.
Yeah.
I'm basically like, I could do everything but fly. I tried to get high enough, but I couldn't.
A guinea is a...
Yeah, it's like I don't even know what their purpose really is. But I mean, I know that my buddy, he had a couple guineas. They're like sort of like turkey-like, but they're not so big, but they like eat like fleas and ticks and shit like that. But he had a guinea and it fucked this chicken. And then I made a gickin, and this thing was like scary looking. It
So
had, like,
who laid
patches
the
of-
egg, the guinea or the chicken?
I have no idea.
Was it a male guinea and a female chicken?
I don't know. But I know that like National Geographic came out there and like took pictures of it and documented it and gave him money to not kill it. And we were like, this thing's mean as fuck.
So now are there more of these things?
It's infertile as God intended. So yeah, no, it was just that one, and it lived forever. Like it was like, I think it might still be alive. I don't know. I think last time I talked to him, I asked him if it was still alive. He's like, yeah, it's still kicking.
Did it have a name?
Yeah, he named it something. I can't remember what it was. It was something
Dylan.
crazy. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Dylan the Gickin.
Yeah.
Hey, it was just weird because when
How did we get on this topic? I lost track.
When I flew in, I went to my buddy Rob's house, and he lives with this other guy, and he was like, hey, his dog's name is Dylan, and I was like,
Sweet.
Okay, weird, you know, like, and he was like, why is that weird? I was like, that's my fucking name. He's like, I didn't even think about that. And I was like, so like, he's like, Dylan, quit this, and I'm just like, you know, like,
I didn't
do nothing, you know, so I'm gonna start shitting in the yard.
I told you, a lot of people meet me and they're like, "Oh man, my dog's name's Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh, my cat's name's Oliver." Yeah. Nowadays, so many people are naming their kids Oliver.
Yeah, actually, Jude. I mean, when me and Sarah were trying to come up with names, I threw Oliver into the ring because I had a buddy named Ollie. You know, whose name was Oliver.
And you love me so much.
And I love you so much. I'm just a super fan. You know, just love abrasive people. Really.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah. So back to the music topic, man. We were talking about the punk rock scene and that the possible return of the punk rock scene to Columbia, Tennessee.
I'm going to make it happen.
Man, there's some pretty cool music out currently that's you know, kind of punk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's a lot of stuff that's evolved from punk and in and out. I was never a fan of the 90s pop punk resurgence of the Green Days and the Blink-182s and all the, you know, just bubblegum fucking bug-eyed bullshit as you love the bubblegum bug-eyed
I
stuff.
love it all.
But you know, being a kid from the 80s and 90s, I love all the old punk rock stuff. But we were talking about music and you asked me what my favorite band was. I was like, "Ooh, that's a tough question." You're like, "No, it's not."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, it is, man. It's a tough question. There's a lot of bands." You're like, "No, it's not. What is it?" And I was like, "Well, what genre and what era?" Because I kind of think of things. I have to break things down.
Right.
So I was like, I can answer the Beatles. You know, of rock and roll of all time.
Boring.
I love the Beatles.
No, I love the Beatles too.
And then
my son's name is Jude.
And then I could answer, you know, like of the 90s punk rock era, I love Dinosaur Jr. I love Jawbreaker. You know, I love whatever. You know, and then just I have to like think about it. I have to look down a certain hallway to pick what's the favorite one of this thing or whatever. I can't just but I asked you and you just snapped off Pixies right off the bat.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love the Pixies, man.
You showed me a lot of stuff last night. And we talked Frank Black that I never even knew was out there. I thought was really cool.
We talked about, you know, the Pixies, and I like that was like when I first got turned on to the Pixies, I was kind of in a heavy punk rock point in my life, young skateboarder punk rock. But then the Pixies kind of were put in this punk rock genre only because they didn't fit anywhere else.
Right.
And then
that's how I kind of felt.
Then they had a song that Here Comes My Man that made it on the radio.
Which is funny. He wrote that song when he was 14.
Yeah. Which that song kind of like took them out of punk rock a little bit and it made all the punk rock people say fuck them or whatever. But
I just like I love the way Frank was not scared to write what he wanted. Like, I mean, you would have, you know, UMass and then you'd have sad punk right after that, which is like two completely different, you know, sounds and shit. And like I've seen them twice, once with Kim Deal, once without, and I don't give a fuck if she's there or not. It's not a big deal to me.
That's what same thing I said.
Pun intended.
But man, I love Frank Black solo stuff. We talked about that. And like you said, he wrote that song when he was young. What a lot of people don't know is a vast majority of these Pixie songs that were on the course of 4 to 5 albums were all written years before. Like just cataloged up, just waiting for him to get into a band. He got into a band and started recording these songs, and every album had some old songs from years ago.
And they're so good live.
Oh yeah,
they're so good live. Like the first time I saw it, I mean, I loved their music, but I was just like, it was hard for me to even listen to it after that, because I was just wanted to hear it. I wanted to be there again, you know?
Yeah. You know, I felt the same way. There's some bands that are just better live than they are recorded, you know, and there's
You think your buddy in the Bronx they're kind of like that, you know?
Oh, dude, the Bronx live is. I mean, there's a lot of their songs that recorded I can really get into, but I think every album they've recorded is like a breakthrough album. Every album they put out is like just heavy hitters, but nothing compares to them live. Yeah. The energy that the whole band puts out, and especially Matt as a front man, is just like, and they had a concept of the band when they started the band. They're like, we're going to do this, 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 and this, you know what I mean? And it's like, they didn't, and they fucking followed it to the T, and they fucking nailed it. And Matt just came out and was like this energetic frontman that just blew the lid off, you know? And I think they were kind of at a forefront of a whole turning point in a genre of music, you know? And just such creative guys, such talented fucking players. Joey's amazing songwriter, amazing guitar player. That band just fucking rocks.
A lot of people don't realize how hard guitar tones are to set for recording and stuff. Like, it's so hard to get a good tone, and they nail it every time. They're one of those people that nail it every time. Like, I love the drummer for the Pixies a lot too, with his, you know, just like how they record and shit. Like, it's like, that's just a different world, you know? Like, being good live is one thing, but being able to record and write and get that dynamic, you know, sound is near impossible.
Yeah, one of the other things I always, when we talk about bands and albums, is like, to me, a whole album put together where every song is good and every song leads, you know, as soon as one song ends, you're expecting that first hit off the next song. The Pixies kill it. Like, every album is great all the way through.
I like Trompe Le Monde a lot. Oh, that's such a good album. Like, I mean, I like Surfer Rosa, of course, but like, there's something about that album that you can just kind of tell, like, it was just like a bunch of probably B-sides that they never threw everything into, but then they like got it together, and like, I just like really like that album a lot. Like, I listen to it while I'm cooking and shit. My grandmother has Alzheimer's. She's just like, "Will you turn that shit off?" And I'm like, "You mean up?
Turn it up." Yeah, when an album is put together and every song, you know, I just, if there's only 3 or 4 songs on the album that I like, I'll just never listen to it. But you know, albums that are
that's what is weird about music now too, is like, no one's releasing albums anymore.
Everybody's just doing singles and EPs. Putting them out, and they go straight to, they're on Spotify the day they're released.
That's it, yeah. And it's kind of sad because like, I have enough music for albums, and like, when we were sitting here talking like with like, you know, like the people that, you know, are involved behind the scenes or whatever, they're like, "We'll release this single this day, this single that day, that." I'm like, why can't we just release a fucking album? Like, you know, like, you know, it's because it really cuts down on streams and shit. I think that really speaks volumes for how the instant gratification that has infiltrated our society is kind of fucking making us not even appreciate full-fledged art anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even like such things as like NFTs. People are like, you know what? I just want a small digital print of a work of art.
Yeah.
And now we got AI fucking doing shit. And it's just like, people like send me like covers, album covers or whatever. Like, I know you made this with AI.
Yeah.
There's no soul in this. This is a computer-generated fucking algorithm. This is garbage. Don't ever send me anything like this again, or I'm gonna fucking make you eat your teeth. Like, this fucking, it pisses me off. Like, AI it's crazy. Like, it's just, I mean, have you motherfuckers never seen like Terminator and shit? You know, like, y'all not see where this is going? Like,
man,
am I the only one? Like, I feel like I'm living in a fucking like George Orwell.
Yeah, it is Orwellian, and I think that I don't think it's good.
No.
I don't think that the AI is going to be a positive thing.
Today it's pictures of puppies. Tomorrow it's fucking predator strikes.
I don't think it's a positive thing. And I've talked about this before, and I think that the internet as a whole is a net negative.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, when people were coming like, "Hey, they're going to ban TikTok. What do you think?" And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I do not care. Like, I appreciate what it's done and stuff like that. But like, honestly, it's not been the greatest thing for my mental health. So I know it's not been the greatest thing for other people's mental health who don't use it to create, but only use it to fucking succumb to this portal of vitamin D draining fucking screens, you know? So,
well, I remember, I mean, I just love the days of like when a new album was going to come out, and you knew that the new Dinosaur Jr. album was going to come out, or you knew that the new Pixies album was going to come out, or you knew that the new whatever band you like was going to come out. You didn't hear a single lick of the music until you got the album.
Right.
You know, unless you were listening to a band like U2 who's like, oh, it's the new U2 song, and they play it on the radio.
And see, I think that my generation, like small, like which was born in 94, I think millennials cut off is like 95 or whatever, but I think my specific like little sliver of generation is like the last generation that's going to remember what it was like to not have cell phones and internet and then have cell phones and internet in their early teenage years. So it's like really strange, you know, like it's just weird.
Yeah. I didn't get, you know, cell phones didn't come out till I was out of high school. Like
I had a cell phone, but I mean, it was just for, you know, it was like small. It was like, you should call it texting. I was a beast on T9. I could fucking tell someone a, you know, story with that shit and
ding, ding, ding,
bitch
ding,
at
ding,
them, you know?
Ding, ding, ding.
Because I mean, you'll pay for so many text messages a month. I'm putting everything I need to say to you that week in one text message.
Yeah, the first actual cell phone that I got was this company called Primeco.
That sounds like an energy drink.
And if their selling point was that, because it was expensive to have a cell phone, and to make the call was expensive, but their whole selling point was unlimited calls to other Primeco callers,
right?
You know, and it was like the first like BBM type thing or whatever, like when you could before Apple messaging, you know, you can Apple message Apple people for whatever. But so me and my one buddy got these Primeco phones, and we could just call all the time. And so it was like we had this big circle of friends.
Right.
I had this Primeco phone. Dan had this Primeco phone. No matter what was going on, I could call Dan and be like, hey, is Mike with you? Is Jim with you?
Yeah.
Is so-and-so with you? Well, hey, put him on the phone. And we could just, in our phone, we were on the phone the whole time, day and night, like calling. Oh, let's call Dan. See who he's with. Dan, where are you at? Who you with? Oh, I'm here with so-and-so.
And, you know, I remember the days when, like, if someone called your house and you weren't there, maybe I'll run into you somewhere else. Maybe I'll call back later. But, you know, like, I hate being able to be reached at all times, everywhere, all the time. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I hate when people ask me what I'm doing. I already have a probation officer. Leave me the fuck alone. What are you doing? Don't worry about it. Yeah. Don't fucking worry about what I'm doing. Say, well, I saw you were on Facebook. I don't care if you saw me on the fucking news. Leave me alone. You know, like, I hate being able to just be reached at any instantaneous fucking time.
Yeah, I asked a young kid, I asked this young kid, I'm just like, have you ever gone to your friend's house
to see if they're there,
rang the doorbell, stood there for a minute, nobody came to the door, and then you left?
Yeah, right.
They haven't ever done that. They have never done that.
I know. Rode your bike across town, almost getting hit by a fucking Corvette that's driving too close to the line, and then fucking going and knocking on the door,
and
just to have to ride all the way back. And
then you see them like a week later, like, hey man, I came to your house the other day. You weren't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody does that,
and that's why, like, and there's even shit like that is like you appreciated just the time you spent with people more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like now it's like everything's so used to like instant this, instant that, instant this. So you, like, it really ruins the appreciation for everything. And art's the first thing, and then relationships will be the next thing, and then, you know.
Well, I've had this conversation quite a bit, and everybody seems to be on the same page. Everybody from this generation, from your generation and older, that remembers the time before,
right?
And then
the time before,
and saw the transition, and now lives in the time with.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees that it's detrimental.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees that it's doing harm. Everybody agrees that it's hurting people's mental health. But the younger people don't know any difference.
When was the last time you saw a kid try to learn how to play guitar?
I don't know.
I don't either. My son is the only person that I can think of.
I mean, there are, well, I have my friends. Maybe. I have my friends who taught his kid how to play guitar, so I know a few people.
I mean, I hope they just do what I did, and they're just hiding in the room smoking pot and masturbating and learning to play guitar. And I hope that's why I don't see them.
Well, you can just watch it on YouTube now and figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it's just it's wild. It's wild. I mean, every time you go into like Guitar Center, you don't ever see kids in there. You know, it's always like these old dudes who fucking make spreadsheets and shit for a living. And
yeah, but I think that the future generations aren't going to do as much hands-on actual trial and experimentation and learning. They're going to have something that's prefabbed and ready to go.
Prefabbed.
And that's what the AI is going to do. It's going to take a lot of the experimentation out of people's hands.
Yeah.
Instead of experimenting what's going to be cool or what's going to look good, they're going to just try it on AI and get 20 options and then pick the best one.
That's crazy.
And I think it's gonna totally fuck up music. I think it's gonna fuck up art.
It's already starting to fuck up music. It's already starting to fuck up
Technology and innovations of making things more easy and more convenient are invading the tattoo industry.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about that with just new, modern, cheap, plastic, Chinese-made equipment that people. It's like, oh, it's easier, it's cheaper, it's more convenient.
Who gives a fuck?
And it's like. It's taking the hard work out of a lot of jobs, and it's taking the creativity out of a lot of things, and it's taking instead of having to dedicate a lot of time to care and learn something, it's making it just plug and play, which I don't think is a good thing. I think it's going to take someone's.
Well, because it takes suffering. I mean, there's countless times where I was like trying to learn how to do something or learn a song or learn a chord and switch between that. And I would just get so fucking mad at my guitar, I'd just start beating it. Yeah. And that frustration is integral to force yourself to becoming a good artist. Is that frustration with yourself, that struggle with yourself, the struggle with the world, the struggle with, you know, whatever. And I think it's taking away the struggle. It's making people weak mentally and, you know, and physically.
I mean, less people are same with, I mean, it's with everything, with skateboarding, with sports, with whatever. It's less people out there trying a trick over and over and over and over and over again until you get it right. Like, in the 80s or 90s, if there was a skate park with a ramp, there was an endless line of kids on the deck waiting to drop in every second.
Yep.
Nowadays, there's skate parks everywhere.
Deserts.
Empty with nobody on them.
Yep. It's crazy.
Like a mile from here, there's a little public park that has a couple skate ramps below. And I go over there every once in a while and skate it. And every time I go there, me and Al are the only people skating the ramp.
It's crazy.
There's a few people sitting around in the bleachers smoking weed. There's a few people fucking walking around looking like they're sketchy, selling drugs or whatever. There's a few parents with their little kids on the swing set.
Yeah.
But it's desolate. Yeah. Nobody's at the park.
Yeah.
There's a baseball diamond. Nobody's playing baseball. There's a little soccer field. Nobody's running around kicking a ball. You know. And
that's one thing I love that I didn't have to like. I mean, he's only 3, but I also didn't have to like. I don't have to like make him go outside. Because I live in the middle of the woods. I have to be like with him all the time because he'll disappear. You know what I mean? So.
But if you give these kids the option to just sit there and play video games, and that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, and I played video games as a kid, but also like I didn't want to play video games all the time, and I don't think not a lot of people did. Like all the time, 24/7 until they. Now,
when I was a kid, when you played a video game, it cost $0.25, and it lasted 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There was no video game that you could play for 8 hours straight.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was none of this like I'm playing a game that takes weeks.
Right.
Which people do.
Yeah. I mean, now I've tried, because I used to enjoy video games quite a bit, but now I'll sit down and I'll try to play a video game. I'll try to get into it and stuff. And I'm just like sitting there thinking the whole time about all this other shit I got to do, and like, so it kind of ruined it for me. Like, I'm just like, I can't even get into it. I don't want to sit there and fucking grind.
Yeah.
Like, I got too much real work I got to fucking do, and there's nothing wrong with people that do that or whatever, but like, I just can't do it.
I mean, I got a Miss Pac-Man machine, and I play it a couple times a week.
I like that. I like that Evil Knievel thing.
Oh, pinball's the best.
So, like, actually, that's what I called Sarah, because she's busted 2 motor mounts on a Nissan Sentra by going 45 miles an hour over a fucking speed bump. So I call her Sheevel Knievel, because she thinks she's a race car driver, and she's getting close. She's getting close. She's pretty good at driving, but also not.
Also not.
Call her the curb master. Yeah.
You call her the curb master?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Checking curbs.
Yeah. There's no, like, I may have hit a curb. It's like, no, you fucking 50-50, you just fucking slid on the oil pan on that motherfucker.
So when you go on this tour coming up, the whole band, what are y'all traveling in? Got that figured out yet?
We were thinking about buying a van, but I think it's going to be for this first time we're just gonna rent one. It doesn't matter. I don't have a license. I mean, unless they just want to put a fucking breathalyzer in one, I can't drive. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It kind of sucks. I really want to get my license back. Like, I'll still drive, but like, also, you know, if I get a, you know, driving unrevoked, that's enough to send me to prison.
Don't do it.
Not going to. And it's hard to put a breathalyzer on a motorcycle.
I don't know if it is.
We should try that. You should see me going down the road, fucking lifting my helmet up, just blowing into a breathalyzer. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, shit. Hold on a minute. You see me at a red light.
Well, other than drinking alcohol, which you're still drinking a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you, how long have you been off the drugs?
A while. I don't really know. I don't like to keep up with that kind of shit because I see
You're
other addicts do it.
You're not collecting the coins for every 3 months of your
Hell
sober?
no. I just think that really puts a lot of weird stress on addicts because it's just a fucking date. And then when they do relapse, it makes them less likely to reach out for help because it feels like they failed in their own sobriety. And like, I think that NA and AA is so culty, and I think they're a bunch of fucking dickheads.
I think that, I mean, I had a fair amount of time in AA.
I hate them.
I had a fair amount of time in AA and NA, and I had...
Bill Wilson did LSD, man.
There was good groups and there was bad groups.
Yeah.
And there was positive groups and there was negative groups. But for me, overall, I couldn't get into the groove of just going there and rehashing it all over every time. Be like, I'm this. I've been sober this long. I need this. I need this. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, man, at some point...
Who gives a shit?
Well, I mean, I would go to a meeting and there'd be somebody be there and they would be like, I have a lot of friends that have had great success and it's helped them a lot. And I have had friends that needed help and I said, hey, I'll go to a meeting with you.
Yeah.
If anything to help you get through the day, anything that makes you happy, anything that can help you get down this road is good. And what you get, if you get good from it, then it's good for you.
Right.
But I would go to these meetings and it would be like some guy that's been like, oh man, I've been sober for 30 years and I come to these meetings every day and I'm like, at what point do you get on with your life?
I didn't get sober to fucking hate my life.
You know what I mean? That's like, I have a job now.
Yeah.
I can't be coming to this meeting. Yeah. And so probation was requiring me to go to these meetings for, so like 3 meetings a week for fucking years. And
yeah,
I was
I have to actually go to therapy for my probation. Like, it's like a group therapy over the phone. And I've actually like kind of grown to like it. And I've gotten more out of that group therapy than I ever have in any NA or AA meeting. And like the dude that runs it he's up front. He's like, I'm not an addict. He's like, my life was easy. This. And it's like cognitive behavioral therapy. So it's like teaches you like, don't like focus on like the trauma you've been through, but like how to retrain your brain to like, so that you don't make trauma response decisions and shit. It's like, get the fuck over it, pretty much. It's just a giant get the fuck over it. And I don't really like that because it's like, first off, we're all convicted felons in the group, and so it's hilarious, like we're all, it's cool. But that's like, I'm at first I was like, I can't believe they're making me go to this shit. It's just another class I gotta go to for probation. But I've actually like really grown to like it a lot.
Well, like I said, some people get a lot of good out of therapy. Some people get a lot of good. Some people need religion. Some people don't. Some people need AA and A. That some people don't. I don't think there's any one blanket. That works for everybody. For sure. But AA and NA, they just didn't. They didn't work for me in the sense that I was very driven and wanted to get on with my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I wanted to, and I just became a workaholic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I just became a workaholic, and I was working all day, every day. And so it was hard.
But we're also do what we love. And like,
it was hard to like take time off and go to this meeting or whatever.
And like also like, I think I've always been sort of a workaholic. I mean, my grandmother was, my mom is, but also like that in itself has also like damaged a lot of relationships. Even like with me and my child's mother, it was the first thing that kind of like damaged our relationship was I would just like threw everything I had into it just to make it work. I just threw enough shit at the wall, maybe something will stick. But yeah, I can't slow down.
Yeah, I've had girlfriends that are like, all you do is work all the time, and I'm like, goddamn right. Yeah. Like, I got shit to do. I got fucking nobody's paying for my shit.
Yeah, these dreams can't stay in my head or they'll kill me.
Yeah, I got a fucking, I got the hoarder sickness. You know. Yeah. Luckily, I've been able to let that be not a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I just love making shit happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just sitting idle doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, whatever you do, I mean, I can have fun pretty much doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had some jobs when I was younger that, you know, weren't my chosen job. I just had to have a job, but I made it fun and I did it. And I was a workaholic at those jobs also, you know, but because if you're busy, it goes by quicker, you know, and
exactly,
like sitting around and being lazy makes it seem so long.
Oh yeah.
And then you get sad and then you get depressed. Like I just don't. Sitting idle, it doesn't work out for me.
No, me either. It literally makes me a terrible person. Like it makes me very, just, I don't know, stresses me out even more just to not feel like I'm doing anything.
But so going on this tour, you're going to get a van. Y'all going to go out on the road. You got X amount of dates to play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what, next month?
Yeah. Looking
forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the game plan for the rest of the year? What's the
I mean, we got some dates in like on the east and back east, and those are gonna be fun. You know, got a festival, some Kentucky dates. I think Ohio or some shit. I don't know. I don't know. They're on the site, but I mean, I'm my main focus is to get back in the studio. Thomas, who's kind of like my
Tomas
Onabani,
yeah.
His name's Thomas Onabane, but he's fucking Italian, and I'm trying to convince him, like, you know, all Italian names end in a vowel sound. Yeah. You know, it's not Onabane, it's Onabani. It's okay. Ellis Island fucked you up. It's all right, but it's okay now. You can be Italian again. So we always fuck with him. But he's my right hand dude. He's like one of my best friends. He's an incredibly talented dude on all facets. He can record, he can engineer, he can write, he can, you know. And so he's been helping me out a lot. He's already been and done this. He's a little bit older than me, and he's already been on tour. He's already played these places and stuff like that. And he's very humble and like also very calm. And so like I kind of really rely on him a lot professionally and creatively too. Like we both, you know, we both are the ones that we got this shit together. You know, I mean, he used to pick me up when I was living in a halfway house. He used to come pick me up when we go to his house, and we recorded like these demos and stuff, and like he actually recorded and engineered Haha and Bullets and Boomerangs, and we did that in a bedroom, you know. So I'm just excited to get back to work with him, and he plays lead guitar in my band as well. So yeah, very cool dude. Can't wait.
And who's doing the booking for all this stuff?
That's a really funny story. So when I got out of jail and I went to this, I got out of rehab and I had to go live in a halfway house. My manager at the time, who is one of my best friends, Megan, she's actually about to have a child, so congratulations to her. But she reached out to me. She said, this guy reached out to you from Wasserman, which is this talent agency. And I was like, who? She's like, John Prine. I was like, Megan, don't fuck with me. John Prine's fucking dead. You know, and she's like, no, his name's John Prine. I was like, I don't fucking believe you.
There's another John Prine.
There's another John Prine, and it's funny because it's just Jon, not John. But he's so he does my
like
booking.
John Doe.
Yeah, like John Doe. Yeah, but he's he does all our booking and stuff. He's with Wasserman, and they've been really good to me, and I hug him as tight as I can every time I see him because he's really helped me out. He took it, and he also works with a lot of like Nashville bands that I like really look up to, like Natural Child and.
Oh, they rock.
Natural Child. So he's friends with those guys.
They fucking
and they're
jam.
making a comeback, dude. Like they're in my opinion, that's the greatest band to ever come out of Nashville. I fucking love those motherfuckers.
They fucking jam.
Hell yeah,
dude.
they do. Like Crack Mountain.
I don't know a whole bunch. Like I was telling you earlier, I don't have my finger on the pulse of modern music, but there's a few things that I catch on to. You know, like Tangia.
Together Pangea, yeah.
And
we used to just be Pangea, I think.
Yeah, and but Natural Child.
Yeah.
I learn about all the music I learn about it at tattoo shop. So I go to a tattoo shop. Everybody here at my shop, we're all playing what we like. So I hear what everybody else is playing. And then I go to another tattoo shop and they're listening to fucking Bass Drum of Death and Natural Child. And
I know.
Fucking,
yeah. So Bass Drum of Death, actually,
I'm good.
We have mutual friends and stuff. And also like one time the twins from the Weeks actually saved my life during the tornado.
Ah.
Just really funny. passed out on a porch swing during a tornado in Nashville, and they said they came outside and I was just like swinging back and forth, passed out on this porch swing. And
You're about to go.
Yeah, I mean, I was like out, and all that rocking back and forth was probably just keeping me more unconscious. You know, I was probably like, finally some good fucking sleep. You know what I mean? But I woke up in a basement, unfinished basement, with a tiny window in it, a single incandescent light bulb.
Like I've been kidnapped.
Oh yeah, not only that, but I like cannot have happen again. You know, I woke up, I like, you know, try to get my surroundings. I was like, well, I'm on a dog bed. They plan on keeping me alive for at least a little amount of time. They want me a little bit comfortable. So I'm like looking around. I'm like, there's no way out of that little fucking window. I like look up the stairs. It's this creepy ass door. And I step on the first step and it's like loud as fuck. I'm like, I'm just gonna have to fucking run up these stairs as fast as I can, kick this fucking door open and just take my chances with whoever's on the other side. So I do that. I was like, pow, kick it open. It's my buddy Todd, who this house I'd been living in. I just never been in the fucking basement. I was in my own house.
They're hiding from the tornado.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Why am I in the basement? He was like, motherfucker, you fell asleep outside during a tornado. The sirens were going off and everything. I was like, my bad.
Sounds likely.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool dude. Todd, he's a pretty funny dude. He's the smartest man from Alabama, which not saying like a whole lot, but he's still the smartest man from Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, sure.
I know you love the Crimson Tide. You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, go Tigers.
Yeah, I don't really pay much attention to sports.
Yeah,
but I do know Roll Tide.
Everybody does.
I have a buddy, Todd, who's named Todd.
Yeah.
From Alabama.
That's funny. And are they all Todd down there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And
Crimson Tide.
Always make fun of Roll Tide, you know, to him. But
yeah.
So Todd Bean, I want to ask you a question. Do you remember when that guy was trucking? Talking to Todd Bean out there. There's this, we were on tour with Lucero and the game was on. And Todd was so stoked Alabama was playing. And it's like one of the early plays, the other team like returned the fucking kickoff all the way back for a fucking touchdown. Yeah. And I was just like, he's trucking! That guy is trucking! And I was like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up! And then they Alabama, you know, the Roll Tide lost that game. I understand that they win a lot.
Yeah.
The one thing I know about
Tennessee did beat them though, so
one thing I know about the Crimson Tide is I love the band Steely Dan. And they have the song. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. Yeah. You know? And the lyric in that song, I learned what it means. And they said they call Alabama the Crimson Tide. Yeah. But I want a name when I lose. Yeah. Call me the Deacon Blues.
Oh, that's cool.
So the Deacon Blues, there's a college team that the team is the Blues. Yeah. And they're the most losingest team in college football history. And so the point of the song is like, it's basically saying that I'm down on my luck. I'm a loser. You know, I want a name when I lose. Yeah. Call me the Deacon Blues. Right. It's a pretty cool lyric. I mean, I love Steely Dan so much, mostly from my childhood.
And also they were really good at, so back then recording was like, of course, very difficult.
And you know, everything's on tape. They recorded the best.
They recorded the best. And I mean, they were the first guys that were just like, you know, just because it's on tape doesn't mean it has to sound like it's on tape. Yeah. You know, and they were all geniuses and stuff. I'm not like super into their music, but I like the genius that goes into behind a lot of artists and stuff like that.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're, for them to be rock and roll is crazy. Right. Because they were more of an orchestra than anything else. Yeah. But they have, it's basically the only thing that takes them out from being like an orchestra easy to listen is they have shredding electric guitar in the middle of it, which is fucking
cool as fuck,
crazy. Because that's the only thing different about Steely Dan than like some Michael McDonald shit.
It's funny,
you know what I mean?
There's this dude, he was into Steely Dan, but he was also into stealing because he was on fucking methamphetamine.
His name was Dan.
I called him Steely Dan, but STEALY, you know? We called him Steely Dan because he stole shit, but he was also into the band Steely Dan. And he thought it was cool. He thought we called him Steely Dan because that's like he was into it. It's like, no, we call you Steely Dan because you won't stop stealing other people's shit.
Stealing you stealing motherfucker.
Yeah. Fucking Steely Dan over here.
Oh my God.
Twacky Chan.
Well, man, I gotta say again, man, I'm stoked you came to Dallas. I'm stoked that you were coming to play our shows.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be killer. And man, I hope that you keep it together.
I hope you learn how to fucking build a fucking shower that's not goddamn complicated.
Well, we might have. We're going to have a technician come out now that you broke the knob
right.
off.
Maybe I could give him some pointers. Like, hey, normal people have to use this.
I think we should do a video instructional video of how to use that shower,
and then just like have an iPad in the wall.
We can film it with you.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do
right
it.
After
and
this.
it'll be like one of those like forklift safety videos where it's like, don't do this, and it's just like me like getting scalded in the shower. Yeah, and it's like big red X comes on the screen.
Don't do what Double W does.
Yeah.
Don't do what.
I'll make a PowerPoint.
Don't be a Dylan.
Yeah, don't be a Dylan.
I think that is actually probably a really good idea. I think this could probably top your sex worker.
Yeah, retired.
This could probably we could probably get more views on this.
Yeah, I hope so. We gotta dilute it. We gotta get that shit off there. We gotta figure it out.
Gotta water down the muck.
Yeah, we gotta start planning some blackmail on the CEOs of OnlyFans or something to get them taken down.
Hey, I think someone could still find it once it's on the internet. Sure. It's on the internet.
Sure.
I mean,
I'm sure
because people screen record that shit and send it to each other, and it's in the ether, it's floating around.
Yeah. Yep.
Hopefully,
sorry, Mom.
Hopefully,
sorry, Mom.
Hopefully, there's not some unedited takes on there that.
But, I've got enough to worry about. We don't have to explore it.
Well, man, you ain't got shit to worry about, man.
No, I'm not worried about it.
Got this world by the horns, baby.
Yeah. I don't ever know if you're talking in innuendos or not. You're fucking with me.
I think you're doing pretty good, man.
Yeah, a lot better than I have been.
It's good, man. I think that you've got a pretty good. I think you've reached a point of pretty good understanding of the struggles you've been through and the hardships that you still have ahead of you, and how to better manage the obstacles in life that are still coming your way, because there's always obstacles still coming your way. Man,
I'm just here to help others for real. And I know that sounds like super cliche or whatever, but I mean that's that's how the only way I can feel any better, besides being, if I can't be around my son 24/7 because split household or whatever, but it just makes me feel better. I know that's selfish or whatever, and but it does, it helps. I've had so many people reach out and just tell me how much it means to this person or that person, or how much they miss this person that enjoyed my art, who unfortunately has not made it, who may have overdosed, and they were like, they really loved your music, and that shit tears me apart, man. I just want to help others and let them know, everybody's suffering, and it's subjective. Everybody's just because one person's going through this and this may seem worse, the suffering is the same, and they're not alone.
Well, in my limited experience of being around you, you're definitely a very caring person.
I appreciate that.
And you definitely come off to me as someone who cares about others more than you care about yourself.
Yeah, well, I have to.
Which to not, you throw out that word selfish acts or whatever, but you don't come off as a selfish person at all.
Yeah.
You're probably a little bit too selfless, and you could probably benefit from a little more selfishness.
Yeah.
I'll
get the memo to Sarah and tell her you said that. And she's like, oh yeah, he's wrong.
I would say there's probably some instances where your addiction made it seem like the person you're dealing with made it seem otherwise.
Oh yeah.
But that wasn't you being a selfish person. That was you dealing with your addiction and your problems.
Right, yeah.
And that was you seemingly not caring about somebody else because you're destroying your own life, which is not the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And for what it's worth, for family members and friends of addicts and shit out there, if you want them to get help, telling them that they're selfish does not help them get sober. It does not. We know that. We know that.
But when you're
I'm not saying enable the fuck out of them, but I'm also saying, hey, you ain't got to pick the scab off.
But when your girlfriend or wife is mad, telling them to calm down works 100% of the time.
Sure.
It does.
Sure.
I do it all. I say, hey, calm down.
Yeah.
And then it's all good.
Yeah, everything's good. That always works.
Good after that.
Yeah, I would just be like, you're being crazy right now. You need to reel it in. That always works.
I would say, dealing with my own bouts of drug problems and lots of friends over many, many years with lots of dealing with people that have had, bigger problems than I ever had. A lot of people harbor resentment towards the addict for things they did. And I always try to explain, I'm like, look, Dylan isn't doing this to you. Dylan is doing this to himself, and it's affecting you.
And also, like, in the reverse of that, like, someone said something to me because of something I've done, and my friends were like, I can't believe that, that must make you feel like shit. It's like, it should, but I mean, that's their pain.
Yeah.
That's not my pain. That's not my resentment. That's their resentment. I got my own little toy box of resentments. I don't have to take on other people's pain, although I do, but but I mean, you don't have to do that. And people pleasing is like a huge thing too for a lot of addicts, and it's weird because they seem like the most selfish people ever, but they're also trying to just like make up for all the shitty ways that they feel by making someone else feel better. And I feel like I do that a lot too, but now I'm starting to learn how to do that in a healthy way, not in a self-sacrificing way. Like someone's like, it takes a lot of sacrifice to be a father. No, it's the easiest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Like in an emotional aspect, like, like it really is. Like, I mean, it's great, but like learning how to not sacrifice myself for people who don't give a fuck. Now that's something that took years,
Yeah. I've learned the hard way that you can't help somebody who doesn't want help.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's a lot of people put so much effort in at the wrong time. And then they give up on that person. Yeah. And it's
as cliche as that it sounds, it's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. I mean, like, even like the old adage, like, if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. Yeah, it's cliche as hell. Yeah, we may have seen it in a couple Wes Anderson movies. Yeah. Who gives a fuck? It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
You look like a character from a Wes Anderson
God damn
movie.
It. Why? Because I got a fucked up Owen Wilson nose?
Yeah.
Wow.
You think Owen Wilson's nose is fucked up?
Are you kidding me? Was he a professional boxer before he became an actor?
Here's the question. How related are Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson? Because they don't look nothing alike.
I know. I think that maybe Luke Wilson probably just beat the shit out of Owen a lot growing up.
Aside from the nose, they don't look like they're brothers. Do we know?
Have you ever seen Bottle Rocket?
Love it.
That's
Filmed
one of my
in
favorite.
Dallas.
What's one of my favorite movies ever? Banana Man. Like, I love that fucking movie, dude.
Hey,
such a good movie.
I lost it, man. You never had it to lose. Yeah. If you haven't seen the movie Bottle Rocket, it's Wes Anderson's first movie. Wes Anderson and Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
And Owen Wilson, Wes Anderson, and Luke Wilson is in the movie.
Yeah.
But that movie's filmed in Dallas. The ice house where the building they break into is downtown.
That's funny.
Depot, and we drove by it today. I would have pointed it out if I would have thought that you were into the Bottle Rocket movie.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it. Now I'm gonna have to go by and see it again. That's pretty funny.
But the guy Pagoda that plays the old man, who also was Mr. Green Jeans and Rushmore, and who was in all the Owen Wilson movies.
Yeah,
he owned a restaurant in Dallas, that was a vegetarian restaurant, and it was open for a long, long time. He passed it on to somebody, and then it just closed shortly after 2020. It closed. But man, it was a great restaurant. It's kind of Indian food based.
I love Indian food.
And Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson used to go eat there all the time.
That's cool.
And that's how they got him to be in the movie. And then he ended up being in all Wes Anderson
Is there any
movies.
good Indian restaurants near here?
Yeah.
That's my favorite. I love Indian food.
Oh, yeah.
Check that out before I go.
There's a place called 8 Clove.
Okay.
And it's downtown.
I like paneer a lot.
Oh, yeah. They got a lot of good stuff.
I'll just get naan and just like put other shit in it. You know what I mean? I love naan. It's like I don't like pita as much as I thought I liked pita. No, I like naan. I don't know why they don't just like We just need to appropriate the fuck out of non and just start putting it with other shit.
And Papa Dom.
Mm-hmm.
I love Papa Dom.
Yeah.
But man, I wish there's so this guy Pagoda, back to this Pagoda guy, whatever his real name was. He owned this restaurant, and he was like an old, like, lack of a better word, like circus performer guy. Mm-hmm. He was like the guy that would stand on a ladder and balance the ladder on one leg and then spin plates on a stick and then juggle with one hand and do all these weird things like stack chairs on top, do all these crazy acts. And I think on the bonus features of, I think it's Royal Tenenbaums, the bonus features, there's a video of him doing some of these tricks.
Yeah, that's a crazy movie. I make fun of Wes Anderson a lot, but I do enjoy Wes Anderson films. I wish he would make a horror film, but it's like Wes Anderson style. I feel like it would be super creepy and it would just make you feel really unsettled, like in that Wes Anderson way. But if you just made it like a super creepy ass Wes Anderson movie, like maybe if like the dude from like if James Wan and fucking Wes Anderson could team up and make a weird, crazy, I would watch that. I would love that. Or like, you know, and just throw an A24 sticker on that.
Oh man,
got it,
dude. But Rushmore, Tenenbaums, are two of my top 10 movies of all time. I love Darjeeling. I love Grand Budapest Hotel. Great movie. So many great movies. The last movie, the Atomic City, I think it was called.
Yeah. Dude,
it was not.
Didn't do it for me.
It looked
like a Wes Anderson
killer.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The set dressing and all the stuff they do looked killer, but it just didn't. The performances and the story just didn't really.
I know, man, and
come through.
I know. Me and Sarah like sat down to watch it together because you know we both like Wes Anderson when we were
Life
together.
Aquatic.
Yeah, we were like, okay, I sat down and watched it, and she loved it, and she was like, "What do you think?" I was like, "I'm gonna have to watch it again." I don't know.
Yeah,
but I mean, I watched it again. And I just didn't do it for me.
The other movies get better the more you watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Life Aquatic gets so much better the more you watch it.
Right.
But man, Atomic City, I probably will watch it again. I've watched it a couple times, but it's just missing something, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's just, and I think that maybe, I don't think Owen Wilson had anything to do with that one. And I know that a lot of the other movies were collaborative, written between the two of them. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe that had something to do with it.
I may get blacklisted for this, but my favorite Owen Wilson movies are the ones where he's with Jackie Chan. Like
those are hilarious.
Those are great movies, dude.
Hilarious.
I love those movies. Like I still think of every time I'm sitting in jail, all I can think about is pissing on my t-shirt and trying to bend the bars with it. You know? I think about that every time. I'm like, man, I wish Jackie Chan was here.
Dude, his character,
on my shirt.
His character in Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I love the Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson.
Oh yeah, I love
Wedding Crashers.
Vince Vaughn is like great. Is he from here?
I don't think so.
I know that I thought for some reason I was thinking he was from Dallas, but I guess not. I don't know. Who knows? Even if you asked him, he'd probably answer sarcastically. Oh yeah. I'm from Dallas. I'm from Dallas. That's what you think of me when you see me. You think I'm from Dallas. That's how I'll probably answer that question.
I don't know. I don't think he's from Dallas.
Yeah.
I know that the Wilsons are from Texas.
Yeah.
I know McConaughey's from Texas.
Yeah. Of course he is. Hey,
you kind of look like you could be in the McConaughey family also.
Yeah, why?
The little
hey man,
rat bastard.
We got to secede. We got to secede from the union, man.
Yeah.
Got to keep seceding. SECEDIN.
Oh man! Hey man, thank you so much for being here, dude. And we're gonna get you to play a song.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna take a little smoke break.
We're gonna get you to play a song, and everybody check out King Lazy Eye.
Yeah. Every time
I was really hoping to meet you in real life and have your eye be like totally fucked.
Well,
like which eye do I look at?
Yeah,
it's looking the wrong way.
Yeah,
but it's a slight lazy eye. I think you're up playing it a little bit.
It's slight until I've been up for 4 days on methamphetamine. These eyes do not want to play with each other, you know.
Yeah, but you do have the slight lazy eye.
Yeah.
But you're definitely you're upselling it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that name came from like my buddy John, who's passed away, R.P. John. But I would have to put my face on the side of the window because I was so fucked up that I'd have to align the lines in the road in between the side mirror and the windshield so that we made it home safely. So he was like, "You're the king at that, like fucking King Lazy Eye." And I was like, when I get home, I'm making a new Instagram account, and that's gonna be my band name.
I love it.
And it worked out.
All right, check him out. He's on all the platforms. King Lazy Eye. Like, before we go, Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
I always ask these musicians about the Spotify deal because I use Spotify.
Right.
It's a great deal. $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
I listen to all the shit.
Yeah.
But I know that especially smaller bands, really, you're not getting shit from that.
No, and I still have to pay to have a Spotify account, which I think is even more bullshit. You know, I like at least give me free Spotify, motherfucker.
You don't make enough money on Spotify to cover the $9.99 a month to Spotify.
Oh no, I do.
Okay,
but I mean, also it doesn't.
But they don't just factor that in. They don't say, "Hey, you're giving us content. We're going to give you free Spotify login."
Which I think is what they should do. You know, I think they should also just, you know, I don't know. I mean, I can't complain too much because I mean, more people as my music is more accessible to more people, and it's not really about money for me. I mean, I do make more money off telling jokes, like on the internet, than I do like, you know.
I forgot. You gotta tell us a couple jokes.
Oh man! All right, I'll tell you one. All right, there's this guy. Me and Oliver, we walked into this fucking bar, and the bartender said, "Dude, I got this alligator over here to give you the best fucking blowjob you've ever had in your fucking life. All you gotta do is hit it on the head of the stick." And I was like, "No fucking way!" So the bartender, he handed me the stick. I hit it on top of the head. Gave me the best fucking blowjob I've ever had. And I looked at Oliver and said, "All right, it's your turn." He said, "All right, I'll do it, but don't hit me in the head with that fucking stick."
He's a comedian, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, somewhat.
Are you telling jokes on Spotify?
No.
Okay.
No.
You don't have a comedy platform on Spotify?
No. Stand-up comedy is too hard. Like, I'm not, you know, I like to hide behind instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. Like during my sets and stuff, I'll tell some jokes and shit or whatever, but mostly like the jokes and shit I tell online are just like rants usually that, you know, or just like, I'll just get in a mode where I'll just like bitch about shit and even stuff I don't even really believe. You know what I mean? I'll just you know, just like I just like to get people riled up.
I love selling a ridiculous idea.
Yeah.
Like you really believe in
dude,
it.
it's my favorite. It's my favorite. I love doing that shit. I love just arguing for points I don't even fucking believe just to see how much people actually care about what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Well, most people I talk to that are musicians that have music on Spotify, they say it's the benefit is getting people
to hear
introduced to their music.
Yeah, because nobody goes to shows. No one goes to fucking shows and like, "Oh, I've never heard this band before. Let me go to their show." No one does that anymore. You know, they listen to the music first and like, I'm not going to go to that show. Or
hopefully they will come to the show in Dallas.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like my full band music. Some of it is on Spotify and stuff, but us live is a completely different sound than what people I think expect. And then they're like, "That shook me," you know. Like that, I am not going to be humble about that because like we are fucking good live. Like we fucking bring it. Well, every time.
Live music is where you get the punch. Man.
Yeah, like every member. Me, Pearl, Thomas, Ben, like we fucking bring it every single fucking time. We're loud as fuck, we're rowdy as fuck. We love what we do. So
can't wait.
Yeah.
Thank you, bud. Thank you, man. Hey, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Come on, guys, click all those links, push all those buttons because it really helps us out and gets us out there to more and more peeps. What in the Duck podcast is produced by Audra Cabral and John.com Niederkorn. Our sound, video engineer, and editor is Courtney, Junior Larkins. Initial audio-video setup and intro music by Blake Balake Pinchon. And a big thanks to everyone that submitted questions. Y'all keep them coming. Email me any questions you would like me to answer to whatintheduckpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on What in the Duck. What in the Duck podcast is proud to be sponsored by Label Solutions, www.labelsolutionsinc.com. I've been a customer of theirs for over a decade. They make the highest quality premium labels for all kinds of products. Food and beverage, personal care products, pet care products, beer and wine spirits, CBD products, automotive products, and more. They can make a label for almost anything. Multicolor, custom die cut, full wraparound labels, too many options to even tell you about. I use Label Solutions for all the stickers and labels for my stuff, like the Tiki Loco label on the coffee I'm drinking right now. They do have a minimum order of 1,000 labels, so they won't make you 20 labels for that soap you're making in your bathtub. But if you've got products to label, you need Label Solutions. Get started today at www.labelsolutionsinc.com.